Well, it's been a rough couple of nights here in Minneapolis, St. Paul for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A chance this afternoon, though, at Target Field to salvage a game of the series. Third and final game of it, of course, Game 5 of 9 games out on the road as the Diamondbacks and the Twins get together again. Interleague play. Our coverage here on Fox Sports Arizona begins, as it always does, with Diamondbacks Live, presented by State Farm. First pitch coming up in about 40 minutes or so. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly, they have the call. Hi again, everyone. I'm Todd Walsh, and welcome to it. Thanks for joining us on your Sunday afternoon, wherever you may be. Tough night again last night as the Diamondbacks fell 5-0. The Twins have won 3 games in a row, and continue to be tied for the second wild card spot in the American League behind the New York Yankees. They're trying to put their season back together again. For the Diamondbacks, well, the struggles continue, but after the game last night, a couple of roster moves that play into the game here today, so let's get right to them. And it's all about pitching, certainly. Braden Shipley and Jimmy Sherfy recalled from Reno. The Reno Aces of AAA. This is the first call up for Jimmy Sherfy in the major leagues. 17 saves with Reno. You've seen Braden Shipley. He's available out of the bullpen today. J.J. Hoover, who pitched 2 2/3, 50 pitches last night in relief of Zach Greinke. He is on his way down. Silvino Bracho also on his way down. He went an inning and a third. So with that, Torey Lovullo after the game making it official. Here are the starting pitchers for the game today at Target Field. Bartolo Colon, the ageless one, 44 years of age, the oldest player in Major League Baseball. He gets the call for the Minnesota Twins, knocked around by the Cleveland Indians his last time out. 5 innings pitched, 3 runs, 3 solo home runs. More on him a little bit later on, but it is TJ Mcfarland. Those are his numbers coming out of the bullpen. But take a look at these numbers and how he has done in outings that go beyond 3 innings. For me, I'll just never forget what he did coming in relief of Robbie Ray after Robbie Ray left that game at Busch Stadium in St. Louis with the concussion. He came out calm, cool, and collected. And after the game last night, I asked Torey Lovullo, why Mcfarland over Shipley today?
Well, I think TJ's throwing the ball pretty good. Well, he's throwing the ball very well for us, and we just feel like his ability to get quick, easy outs and work both sides of the plate, and maybe turn some of these switch hitters around. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of thought going on with us and with me, but Braden's ready, and I know that he's eager to get in there if needed, and hopefully we don't get to that point.
All right, there's Torey Lovullo of the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll take a short break here on Diamondbacks Live. A little bit later on, we'll go one-on-one, as we promised, with former Twins manager, D-backs bench coach, Ron Gardenhire. by Gila River Casinos. Earn more reward points faster and then redeem in more places with The Card by Gila River Casinos. Sign up for The Card today. Twins and Diamondbacks from Target Field. Hall of Fame weekend here for the Minnesota Twins, and part of our Sonic Shake break has to be, I think, the headliner that's been here all weekend long, Rod Carew. It was Rod Carew Bobblehead night on Friday night. They celebrated his 1977 American League Most Valuable Player Award in that year that he hit .388. And there's an embrace with Diamondbacks first base coach Dave McKay, and Torey Lovullo going out there to say hello to Rod Carew as well. Tom Walsh, and welcome back to the show. And speaking of Dave McKay and Rod Carew, I want to take a little quick trip into Todd's garage. I don't know why, but I'll never forget this particular rookie card from 1976. Topps, you see Willie Randolph was a Charleston Charlie and a Pittsburgh Pirate before he went on to star for the New York Yankees. Roy Steiger was a Met farmhand. Jerry Royster had a nice run, but there's Dave McKay in the upper corner. And remember, Dave broke in with the Minnesota Twins, spent a couple of years here in 75, 76, homered in his first game on August 22nd of 75 against Vern Rule. In that game, Rod Carew went 1 for 2, but I talked to Dave McKay about Rod Carew yesterday.
Just how unbelievable a hitter he was. You know, you had faced, I remember facing Gossage when he started for the White Sox. And I remember after my first at bat, I sat down on the bench and I talked to Larry Heisel, sitting next to me. I said, does anybody on this planet hit this guy? He started laughing. He goes, just Rod will get him, and you and I'll get him in the 4th or 5th inning when he slows down. Then I watched Rod go up there and just comfortable line drive into left center. I'm thinking, how does he do this? But he's such a gifted hitter. I mean, he was just the perfect hitter. Hit everybody. I mean, those pitchers would say, I heard it Ferguson Jenkins say, I don't try to get him out. I just throw the ball down the middle, keep it away, give him his base hit, and go after the next guy. Don't waste my time on him. That's a good hitter. He's real special.
I mean, the Tony Gwynn and obviously George Brett made a great run at 400, but I always thought Rod was going to be the guy, frankly.
Yeah, if there's a few years where he's up in the 370s, 380s, and I thought that if there's anybody that can do it, it would be him, because I can't think of anybody that I ever saw that he didn't find it easy to get hits. I was talking to him yesterday, and they're talking about playing the national anthem. And he goes, that's my favorite song. I says, every time they play that, I get 2 or 3 hits.
That line never gets old. Rod Carew, and you're looking on the field to the Twins Hall of Fame induction ceremony today. Longtime architect of the Twins, Andy McPhail, who helped put together the 87 and 91 World Series champs. Back with more to Target Field right after this. It's also brought to you by Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. And by Sanderson Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford. Diamondbacks and the Twins, the finale here from Target Field. It's been a great weekend of weather for us to endure here, which isn't always the case. And we're thankful for that. So, under the umbrella of the 10th inning in our original programming department, it's another installment of the Local 9 that's coming up right after the game today, featuring the likes of A.J. Pollock, Gregor Blanco, and Derek Hall. Their life and times living in the Valley of the Sun, just like you if you're watching from back home. Hope you enjoy it. Next installment, thanks to our great friends in the original programming department, Josh Kellman, Tom Ellsworth. When we return, essentially, what's next? We'll go one-on-one with that guy, Ron Gardenhire. Twins executive Andy McPhail, part of their Hall of Fame weekend, will be inducted in a matter of moments. The ceremony going on. There he is hugging Diamondbacks bench coach Ron Gardenhire, who told us earlier today that's the guy that brought him to the major leagues as a third base coach with the Minnesota Twins, a team that he won a World Series championship with, and then of course went on to manage for many, many years. This more than a sort of homecoming, it really is a homecoming for Ron Gardenhire. A very busy weekend, coming back as a very popular figure here for Minnesota Twins fans. And before the series started, we had a chance to get to the top step and then beyond here outside the Diamondbacks dugout. And we had a chance to talk to Ron Gardenhire about his life and times here, how it ended, and what this weekend was all about. Before we even get rolling, can I just say this, Ron Gardenhire? I don't think there's anything better than the sound of grass being cut and the smell of a wet infield in August. How about you?
You know, you're right, and it doesn't get much better than this. A little rain earlier here today, and a beautiful place, and they're whacking that grass and blow drying, and I've seen this happen here a lot of years.
Well, I never got to blow dry our lawn in the yard, but that's a whole other story. So let's go into your head. What was it like when you got here today?
You know what, coming to this side, the visiting clubhouse is a little different, but I went through and, you know, saw some friends that I've known here a long, long time, and it was nice. It was nice flying in and actually getting in the car and driving back to my house, and that was cool. So it's been good. A little nerve-wracking for me coming here, but it's been good. I watched your final press conference here, I'll be honest, and there are a couple things that will resonate with me for a long time. And the first thing is when you talked about the people at the stadium, you said
treated your wife better than you. I know how much you love this organization, this city, this state. I mean, this is a part of you, isn't it, Ron?
Oh, there's no doubt. You know, they took me in. I learned a lot of great baseball here, and was able to kind of hand it over and teach some of it back through Tom Kelly. He gave me an opportunity. So this is a special place. There's really good people here, and you know, I made my home here, and I have a lot of really good friends here. So this is a really neat place, and I enjoyed my time here. I miss it absolutely, but I still have my home here. So I come back during the winter and freeze my butt off, but I like it.
You seemed at peace, though, with what happened. I mean, it seems like it's the reality of pro sports. You said, I'm out of here because we didn't win, right?
That's it. That's what it all gets down to. And you know, I, like everybody else, wanted to win, and the people here wanted to win, and it just wasn't happening. We went through a few bad years in a row. I get it, but how many times do you get a chance to manage in one city? 13 years in one city managing. I coached 11 under TK here, so that's a long time in one city. You know what? People say, you know, how did you get fired? I'm like, I did it because we lost, and I got to stay here 13 years as a manager. That's pretty good.
But you did win. You won a lot. You won 6 division titles, won more games than anybody as a manager in Twins history. What's the one thing you remember most about running out those lineup cards night after night at both places?
Not getting thrown out when I handed them over to the umpires. That was always good.
I was going to go there.
So that was always fun. But you know what? Just you know, the effect the fans had on us. They came out when we were in the Metrodome when I first started managing. You know how loud that place was, and you know how passionate the fans are, and it never changed. We moved to this ballpark, something beautiful they deserved, our fans, and with the Twins when I was here. And you know what? It's still going, and they've got a great fan base here. And it's not just, you know, the Minnesota. It's Iowa, and it's North Dakota, South Dakota, and even Wisconsin, so it's a big fan base.
You couldn't kick the door down, to borrow the phrase from Bum Phillips, the late Houston Oilers head coach. But those darn Yankees, that was a dynasty. You kept running into them, didn't you?
Well, they kept running through us, and it wasn't much fun. But you know what? They talk about my playoff record and everything. You know what? We got to the playoffs. We just didn't finish it off, and I was proud of those guys. You know, no matter which way it went, and unfortunately for us, we couldn't get to the World Series. Got to the American League Championship one year and got beat by Socia and the Angels. So we had a good run. We had some good players. We had a lot of fun and a lot of good memories.
Can I go back to '91 before I let you go? I was watching this last night. I can still see you shaking Kirby Puckett's hand as he comes around in Game 6. That moment before Game 7. What do you remember most about Kirby and that home run?
I remember him, you know, just coming off the field before that, and you know, telling us what he was going to do. He was driving the bus, and he's coming off the field as I'm going onto the field. And you know what? That was a special moment. He hits a home run and gets us into the World Series, and I mean, getting to the Game 7, and we all know what happened in Game 7. But you know what? There's so many great moments, but I definitely remember that one.
Well, you walked together forever in 1991 because of that Game 7. Have you ever seen anything like what Jack Morris did?
No, he's a tough guy. I mean, I lockered by him all season long in that 91 season in the Metrodome, and you know what? I had to listen to him, the grouchy old guy, and he was entertainment though when he got the ball. You just didn't, as he said, his goal was to shower with the boys, and that's pitched 9 innings, and he did it a lot.
You said many times over the years here as the manager, you talked about what Davey Johnson said to you, Ron, and I wanted to share maybe some of the things that you learned along the way about never forgetting what it's like to be a player. I see that with this team right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, that's your memories. That's how you started. And you know what? When you start on this side, managing and coaching, and a guy misses a ball out there, you've been there. You've done it. I guarantee it. I did it more than most people. And you have to remember that, how hard it is to play this game, and you'll be a better coach for it.
I went down a YouTube wormhole. It's the Ron Gardenhire ejections wormhole. 72 times. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone? You don't want to relive those, though, right?
No. And you know the crazy thing, people think and I've said this many times, people think that I really dislike them. I've got some of my best friends that are umpires, and I have fun with them, and nowadays they look at me in the dugout and start laughing. They just look at me and laugh, and I got you, I know you got me. So, you know, it's entertainment. I had fun doing it. I always got my goal, and I told this before too, I wanted my players to stay in the game, so if something started happening and they were getting in an argument, I got in the middle of it, and I was the one that got pitched so they could stay and play.
Are you prepared for the lineup card? I'm guessing Torrey's going to make that priority one for you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that or not. That's a long ways from this dugout to home plate.
Well, listen, enjoy this. Thanks for coming out as a preamble. I'm not going to grab walleye on a stick here, but I'm going to enjoy this. This is a beautiful place. They did it right.
Yeah, it's a nice place. It's a beautiful area up here. Hopefully the rain will leave us alone and we'll get to play some baseball.
Did you at least get to lube up the power auger for ice fishing season?
I tell you, I went in my garage and I looked at all my gear. I'm locked and loaded.
I knew that. Thanks, Ron.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks.
Sunday conversation with Ron Gardenhire. Spent some time talking with him and Tom Kelly, his mentor, two-time World Series champ, manager of the Minnesota Twins, earlier today before the Hall of Fame ceremony. A former Rochester Red Wing, by the way. I watched him back up in 1976, a first baseman in Rochester in the International League by the name of Eddie Murray. We'll come back with more of D-Backs Live right after this. Twins and the Diamondbacks at Target Field. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Andy McPhail just about wrapping up here prior to this game, part of Hall of Fame weekend. But let's take a look for the Arizona Diamondbacks at the current wild card situation at the start of play today. The Diamondbacks caught a break last night as the Rockies fell to the Milwaukee Brewers, but then again the Brewers are hot and they're right on their heels, 3.5 games behind them for that second spot. The Rockies hold a one-game lead. Milwaukee and Colorado and Denver this afternoon. Later this evening, the Cardinals and the Pirates. You see that Marlins Mets score off to New York after the game here today. You're on the field with Paul Goldschmidt. There's a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup today. You see that David Peralta is there, and that's the batting order. He'll be the designated hitter. Chris Iannetta is catching today for TJ McFarland, and you see Adam Rosales gets in. The Diamondbacks had just 2 hits last night, 2 doubles, and that was it. They haven't scored a run since David Peralta's solo home run on the first pitch of the second inning on Friday night in Game 1. So they go up against Bartolo Colon today, 44 years young. And earlier today we were talking to Torey Lovullo about him, and he reminded himself and us that he actually played with Bartolo Colon. There's still one player out there in the majors, at least one that he knows of. It was around in the game when Torey Lovullo played. That was one game with the Cleveland Indians back in the late 90s. He was at third base when Bartolo threw a no-hitter with the old Buffalo Bisons. Bartolo Colon has been in the league in the majors longer than the Arizona Diamondbacks. How about that? All right, here we go. Stage is set. Time to get up to the broadcast booth. Steve Berthew and Bob Brenly, they wait the call. Third and final game of the series. Diamondbacks trying to salvage a win. Get on a happy flight to New York. And it's coming up.
Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's a Sunday here in downtown Minneapolis. D-backs baseball from Target Field is brought to you by Sanderson Ford. Diamondbacks hoping for a win over these Twins to close out the series before it's off to New York. And today they'll get another look at Big Bartolo Colon. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good morning from Target Field, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew and Bob Brenly along the way. It's breakfast with the Diamondbacks here today. Kind of a ham and egg situation, Bob, for the pitching staff. TJ Mcfarland comes out of the bullpen, makes his first start in more than 3 years.
Yeah, there were a few different options for Torey Lovullo and Mike Butcher. They chose to go with TJ Mcfarland, a dead ground ball pitcher. He's given up 4.5 ground ball outs for every fly ball out this year. Not sure how deep in the ball game he'll be able to work, but after weighing all the options, they felt TJ was the best way to go. One good thing, it puts Joe Mauer on the bench for the Twins.
And Braden Shipley has come up from AAA Reno, so there's some pitching depth there. J.J. Hoover, Silvino Bracha go back to AAA, and Jimmy Sherfy is here, ready for his Major League debut.
Yeah, I just wanted to get some fresh arms down in that bullpen, assuming that you're going to need some help in that pen today. J.J. Hoover worked extensively last night, as has Silvino Bracha recently.
Well, as Todd pointed out a moment ago at the end of the pregame show, Bartolo Colon has been in the major leagues longer than the Diamondbacks have existed, and it's Big Bart out there today for the Twins.
Yeah, Bartolo Colon having a very subpar season, 4-10 on the year with a 6.70 ERA. His last start against the Indians, 5 innings of 3-run baseball, all 3 runs scoring via solo home runs.
Just about set to go. First pitch coming up from Target Field. It's the D-backs and the Twins on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up today at any Gila River hotels and casinos location. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing, choose Chaz. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By the Donor Network of Arizona. Sign up, save lives. Visit DonateLifeAZ.org. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. By Gigablast, internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. By Oregano's, step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. By Phoenix Raceway, see Dale Jr.'s final West Coast race during the Can-Am 500 NASCAR semifinal at Phoenix Raceway November 10th through the 12th. Tickets at phoenixraceway.com. And by State Farm, here to make life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM. Welcome back to Minnesota, Target Field in downtown Minneapolis. And before we get this ball game underway, we pause to honor America with our national anthem.
At every Twins home game. Today's honorary flag raiser is Mary Molitor, who served in the United States Navy from 1968 to 1971. Mary is raising the flag today in honor of her late husband, Vietnam veteran Bill Molitor, who served in the United States Army from 1971 to 1973. Thank you, Bill and Mary, for serving our country. Singing our national anthem today, please welcome the Land O'Lakes Barbershop Choruses.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars perilous fight, o'er the
Target Field on a beautiful day here in downtown Minneapolis. It's Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Warm summer day here, warm and muggy in fact. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh with you. It's D-backs baseball presented by Sanderson Ford. As the Diamondbacks search, Bob, for their missing offense, it's been 16 consecutive innings since they scored a run. And in those last 16 innings, they've had only 4 base hits. So this has been a difficult stretch. The lineup today is presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Yeah, a lot of line drives caught, especially in the second half of that ball game last night. Here's how Torrey's going to line them up this afternoon. David Peralta will lead it off as the designated hitter. A.J. Pollock out in center field. Jake Lamb at third base with Paul Goldschmidt at first. J.D. Martinez out in right field. Chris Iannetta doing the catching this afternoon. Brandon Drury at second base. Gregor Blanco out in center field, actually in left field, excuse me. And Adam Rosales playing shortstop. The left-hander T.J. Mcfarland will be on the mound.
And for the Twins, it's the veteran right-hander Bartolo Colon. He's your Ram truck starting pitcher for Minnesota. And calling him a veteran might be an understatement. He's 44. He's in his 20th major league season. Released by the Braves in July, picked up by the Twins, and in here he's won twice in 6 starts.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of fastballs from Bartolo Colon. He likes to work across the top of the zone. The velocity not quite what it once was for Big Bart, but he's not afraid to challenge with that fastball.
Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Minnesota defense.
Eddie Rosario will be in left field. Byron Buxton in center. Max Kepler once again out in right field against a left-handed starter today. Ray Adrianza will be at third base. Jorge Polanco at shortstop. Brian Dozier at second base. Mitch Garver getting the start at first base today. Chris Jimenez doing the catching for right-hander Bartolo Colon.
John Tumpane is our plate umpire today, calling the balls and strikes. Sean Barber at first base. The crew chief Ted Barrett is at second. And Angel Hernandez is at third. D-backs trying to salvage one here against a hot Minnesota Twins club that has won 10 of its last 13 games. And we're underway on a warm and muggy Sunday in Minnesota. The DH is David Peralta. 304 and 13 home runs. Peralta 0 for 4 last night. But he had 3 hits in Friday's series opener, including a home run. Off to a bit of a late start here today. The Twins yesterday and today inducted the latest 2 members into their franchise Hall of Fame. Yesterday, Michael Kadire, and today former GM Andy McPhail went in there, so they had some on-field ceremonies that ran a little bit long here today. A lot of Twins greats down on the field. Bert Blyleven and Torrey Hunter, Rod Carew, Dan Gladden.
Dan Gladden?
Yes.
One of these things is not like the other.
Well, that is true, but he is still a Minnesota Twins great.
Oh, he's a legend here.
And your former Giants teammate,
yeah.
So it's been good to catch up with him here. Full count on Peralta, 3-2. A.J. Pollock in center field on deck. Called strike 3. There's the fastball, and from Bartolo Colon, it's not very fast, and David Peralta has some words with John Tumpane. Bob, now's the time. Let's look at your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, it is Sunday. Let's make it an early brunch for Big Sexy. He looks like he could use a little French toast and bacon.
Well, who couldn't, frankly? David Peralta really unhappy with that strike 3 call by plate umpire John Tumpane. Here's Pollock. That fastball drifts back out over the plate. 0-1 on AJ. 273 and 5 homers. A pair of hits in the series. He doubled last night. One of only 2 hits in the ball game for the Diamondbacks. Bartolo Colon will throw his sinker more than 60% of the time. And it's a slower sinker than you usually see. It doesn't really sink like it used to. It kind of just gets tired as it gets to the plate and falls down. But still pretty effective.
Yeah, it's more of a tailing fastball than a sinking fastball, and he's learned how to use that movement on the tailing fastball. Just like the strike 3 to David Peralta. Starts it inside off the plate to a lefty, tails it back to the inside corner to get the called strike.
You see that tailing action on the pitch right there. 2-2. He'll mix in a 4-seam fastball that tops out at about 90 miles an hour. And you'll see the occasional changeup and slider.
Yeah, bottom line, when you're facing Bartolo Colon, get in that box ready to hit a fastball. Now, granted, it's not a high velocity fastball.
AJ does just that. Knocks it into the right field corner. Kepler over there to pick it up, and AJ has a 1-out single.
I said every time he gets a hit to the opposite field, a good sign for A.J. Pollock. Even his manager Torlavello admitted he's a little pull crazy lately, but his last 3 base hits have come to the opposite field, maybe working his way back.
And A.J. had the Diamondbacks' last base hit, a 2-out double in the 3rd inning last night. He's got a 1-out single here in the 1st ahead of Jake Lamb. Jake 264, 26 home runs and 94 runs batted in. Time for a Lamb slam. D-backs fans here with us. Seen a lot of Diamondbacks fans here all weekend long, in fact. Some folks flew out for the weekend series. Great place. The weather here is gorgeous. The ballpark is just beautiful.
Great walk-in city. A lot of the hotels are close to the ballpark. You can just take a hike a couple of blocks over here to Target Field.
Good trip. Keeping AJ close over there. Jake Lamb every now and then will have a stretch where he strikes out a whole bunch. And he has struck out 9 times in 19 at bats over his last 5 games. 0 for 3 last night. He punched out 3 times. Pollock holds it first. There's the changeup from Bartolo Colon, and it's 2-0. AJ got a big jump on Colon, and he is in there easily. He was halfway to second before Colon threw the baseball. 3-0 on Lamb.
We had a great shot of it there from our low third camera. You could see Bartolo Colon in the set position, and behind him AJ just takes off. Obviously Dave McKay has spotted something over the 20 years of watching Bartolo Colon pitch. He spotted something in that delivery to key the base runners to take off.
Yeah, when you see something like that, it's almost always a Dave McKay stolen base. Fastball's in there for a strike. Dave, who, as we mentioned yesterday, broke into the big leagues with the Minnesota Twins in the mid-70s. Back at Old Metropolitan Stadium, coaching at first base. Tony Perez Chica coaching at third. Full count on Jake Lamb, 3-2. Goldie on deck.
The only day game of this 3-game series here in Minnesota. The sun would appear to be affecting the guys on the left side of the infield in the early part of the ball game.
Takes a fastball up and in that missed. Ball 4. So the Diamondbacks 2 on and 1 out for Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie hitting .319. 29 home runs, 96 runs batted in. 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts last night. That snapped an 8-game hitting streak. He's got Pollock at second, Lamb at first, and 1 out. Boy, AJ has been tap dancing back there ever since he got to second base. Really giving Cologne a hard time.
Boy, and that's a welcome sight. That threat of a running game that was such a big part of the Diamondbacks offense in the first half has kind of disappeared here in the second half.
Dozier standing right near the bag at second. A lot of room on the right side of the infield. Misses up and it's 1-0. Takes a fastball for a strike. Goldie hitless last night, just the 3rd game this month that he's gone without at least 1 base hit. 7 home runs and 17 RBIs in his last 16 games.
It was that kind of night last night. Paul Goldschmidt hitting in the cleanup spot, got 3 at bats in the ball game last night.
Only 2 hits. Checked on that fastball. John Tompane says strike 2. Two balls and 2 strikes. D-backs have lost 3 of 4 on this road trip. They have dropped 10 of their last 14 overall. Their lead for a postseason spot has been cut down to 3.5 games. It's time to pick up the pace a bit. 2-2 to Goldie with 2 on. High in the air, center field. Byron Buxton in front of the warning track. Pollock is at second. He takes off for third. Lamb will stop at first. Just got under it a little bit, and as Torrey told us the other day, it takes a lot of strength to hit it out here to dead center field. So first and third, 2 down for J.D. Martinez. J.D. hitting .282, 24 home runs between the Tigers and the Diamondbacks. 0 for 3 last night after he was scratched from Friday's lineup. Still battling a head cold.
Well, partner Kenta Maeda lost his perfect game. He was perfect through 5 innings today. Gave up a leadoff hit in the 6th inning to John Hicks, the Detroit Tigers catcher today.
I saw that Maeda and Verlander had dueling no-hitters, Dodgers at Detroit.
Yeah, Verlander lost his on a solo home run by the newest Dodger, Curtis Granderson.
Tigers lead 2-1 in the 6th inning at Comerica Park. The Grandy man can. Missed inside. It's 1-1. JD Martinez, having come over from Detroit, has played in the Twins division for several years, so he's played 28 games at Target Field. He's hit .304 here with 4 homers. Could use a big swing right here. One and two. Long first inning for Bartolo Colon. About to throw his 26th pitch. 2 on and 2 out, 1 and 2 on JD Martinez. You see those consistent fastballs from Big Bart. 86, 87, might top out at 89, 90.
Yeah, part of his effectiveness when he is effective is that short arm delivery. You know, most pitchers really extend that throwing arm out behind their body before delivering to home plate. He just kind of cocks the ball up behind his ear like a catcher would on a throw to second base.
That's a hard fastball at 88 upstairs, and it's 2-2. And Neil Allen is the Twins pitching coach. Chris Iannetta on deck. And Neil Allen was saying he's got a couple of guys on his pitching staff. He's praying to God they watch how Bartolo Colon attacks the strike zone and kind of does what he does. And what Allen likes about him is how he doesn't try to do more. He doesn't try to do less. He just stays with who he is and what he does well, which is to be consistently in the strike zone and try and let the hitter get himself out. And it's pretty much worked for Bartolo Colon for 20 years now.
Strikes with movement, that usually works.
Doesn't matter what the velocity, I guess. Still 2-2 on JD. Well, he dropped a changeup in there, and John Tompain rings up his second D-backs hitter in this inning. They strand 2. TJ McFarland coming up. TJ McFarland, his first start of the year. All 32 appearances have been in relief. In fact, it's just TJ's third career major league start and his first in more than 3 years.
And all they're asking for is whatever he can give the Diamondbacks. Ideally, he keeps that pitch count down early in the ball game, gives himself and the D-backs an opportunity to perhaps go 4, maybe 5, depending on pitch count. Needs a lot of early contact.
Ideally, he can get them 4 or 5 innings and turn it over to the bullpen with some fresh arms back there and Braden Shipley and Jimmy Sherfy. Brian Dozier, the leadoff man, looks at ball 1. Dozier 259, 24 homers. He's had a good series, 3 hits and 3 walks. He homered here Friday night. Take a look at the lineup for the Twins. That's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Dozier leading off at second base. Eddie Rosario will be out in left field. Byron Buxton in center field. Eduardo Escobar is the DH today with Mitch Garver at first. Jorge Polanco at short. Max Kepler out in right field. Chris Jimenez doing the catching. A-Ray Adrianza at third base. And big Bartolo Colon, the right-hander, on the mound.
Change-up missed away, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Braden Shipley recalled from AAA Reno, activated today. Jimmy Sherfy is here. So they do have some fresh arms back there. Braden has been starting all season, and TJ has worked only in relief, but they flip-flop those roles here today. And it's a leadoff walk to Dozier. Diamondbacks defense is presented by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Gregor Blanco will be in left field this afternoon with A.J. Pollock in center. J.D. Martinez over in right. Jake Lamb and Adam Rosales on the left side of the infield. Brandon Drury, Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Iannetta doing the catching for lefty T.J. Mcfarland.
Eddie Rosario, the left fielder, batting in the 2-hole. The reason they flip-flop Shipley and Mcfarland was that they like TJ's ability to get some easy outs, work both sides of the plate, and it gives them a lefty, so Paul Molitor has to move some guys around in the lineup. Joe Mauer is sitting, for instance. Max Kepler has been dropped to 7th in the order. And they figured if they could sit some of the lefties, move the switch hitters to the other side, that's their best option with Braden Shipley back there for some depth in the bullpen. Trying to make the Twins a little less comfortable here in this ball game, and they figured T.J. Mcfarland was the way to go. Good fastballs in there.
Got to be a little different for T.J. Mcfarland. This is only his 3rd career start. He's a guy that's used to the phone ringing, grab a ball, get up, get loose as fast as you can, and go into the game. He had plenty of time to warm up before this afternoon's ball game.
His last big league start was July 1st, 2014. So it's been just over 3 years. He went 5 innings for the Orioles in that ball game at Baltimore and got the victory. Orioles beat Texas 8-3. TJ's longest outing this year has been 3 2/3 innings in relief. That was July 28th at St. Louis when he came on in the 2nd inning after Robbie Ray was struck by that line drive. And he threw 58 pitches in that outing, and he followed that appearance with the 54-pitch outing August 1st in that blowout loss to the Cubs at Wrigley Field. So he's used to certainly at least working multiple innings in relief. Quickly ahead of Eddie Rosario, 0-2. Just reaches out and taps that. Rosario can defend himself against lefties. He's hitting .299 versus left-hand pitching this year. But he's only homered once off a left-hander all season long.
Pretty nice emergency swing there on the 0-2 count on the slider, working its way away from Rosario. Just stuck the bat out there at the last instant and got a piece of it.
You hear those alarm bells go off.
Emergency swing.
Tap to first. Goldie's only got 1 play. Beats Rosario to the bag, and Dozier's in at second. Here's Byron Buxton. 4 hits in the series, including 2 triples and inside the park home run. It's a pretty entertaining series. 241 now, 8 homers. Buxton comes into today riding a career-high 9-game hitting streak. 2 triples and an inside-the-park homer in 2 games. That's pretty good.
You wish it was under different circumstances, but it's been fun to watch him run the bases.
Sure,
I mean,
sure has.
You know, when you have an exceptional athlete who is really good at doing something, you want to see him do it. I hate to have him rounding the bases against the Diamondbacks in this series.
And that one is dropped into right center field. Dozier coming around with the game's first run, and it's 1-0 Twins. Byron Buxton's brilliant series continues. It's an RBI single.
Pretty good plate coverage right there. A little sinking fastball just off the outside corner, but Buxton gets enough barrel on it to line it out there into right center to put the Twins on the board early.
I don't know about you, but I'm sold on Byron Buxton.
I'm telling you.
He's a player, and he's only 23. DH today in the cleanup spot, the switch hitter Eduardo Escobar. Now you got to worry about Buxton at first base. Big swing and a miss there by Escobar. Eduardo Escobar is only hit in the series a home run Friday, 253 and 11 homers. Byron Buxton at first base has 21 stolen bases. He's only been caught once. That one almost got T.J. Mcfarland to rocket back up the box. And 3 of the first 4 Twins have reached.
All right, that one sizzled right back over the mound. Mcfarland able to get out of the way. That ball gets out to A.J. Pollock in center field in a hurry. Buxton has no choice but to stop at second base.
So a run is in, still only 1 out. First and second for Mitch Garver, making just his second at bat as a major leaguer. Called up from AAA Rochester for this series. He struck out as a pinch hitter in his major league debut last night. Trying to get another right-hand bat in there against the lefty Mcfarland. Twins lost outfielder Robbie Grossman to a fractured thumb Thursday after an outfield collision with Buxton, so Garver gets the call from AAA Rochester and today makes his first start in the big leagues. Garver is in there at first base. Joe Mauer sits today, but Garver has been a catcher in the minors. He's seen the vast majority of his time defensively behind the plate, but he has played some outfield and some first base.
As you know, partner, very abbreviated work day before the ball game today. Both teams hitting in the cages. A couple of Diamondbacks and a couple of Twins came out to take some ground balls, including the guy at the plate.
That rolls away from Chris Iannetta, and Buxton took a big turn around third as it rolled toward the Minnesota dugout.
It looked like a cross-up once again. The way Iannetta ends up receiving that ball, he was expecting it to continue to move inside to the right-handed hitter, perhaps looking for a slider. Instead, he got the two-seam sinking fastball and just clanked off the glove toward the first base on deck circle.
Well, now the Twins have the potential for a big crooked number in the first. Second and third, 1 out, and Garver ahead 2-0.
That's a tough pass ball for Chris Iannetta. When you get crossed up, there's really not much else you can do other than get lucky and hope the ball stays close enough to hold the runners.
Three and 0. The shortstop Jorge Polanco is on deck. Garver's got some power. He was hitting .291 with Rochester this year, 17 home runs.
I mentioned both teams had very abbreviated workouts today, but Garver was one guy that came out early at first base, had one of the coaches standing at second base hitting him fungo so he could stretch out and pick throws, simulate picking throws out of the dirt over there at first base.
Has not played a lot over there in the minors. Second walk in the inning for TJ Mcfarland, and with one out, the Twins have the bases full for Jorge Polanco. Let Butcher get out there. This is not going the way they'd hoped.
Throwing strikes has never been a real big issue for TJ Mcfarland. Maybe his approach is a little different as a starting pitcher than it normally is when he comes out of that bullpen. He usually just pounds away at the bottom of that strike zone with that two-seam sinker and the hard slider. Gets a lot of ground balls.
Yeah, that's why they liked him for this spot start today, because he generally gets some pretty easy outs. But he's going to be desperate for a ground ball here against Polanco. One run already in, bases full. And they flip the switch hitter Polanco around. He'll bat from the right-hand side. And he's only a .222 hitter this year, right-handed, .245 on the year. Slider missed, and it's 1-0. Polanco 3 hits and a walk in this series. Doubled and drove in a pair of runs in the opener Friday night. Another slider, and it's 1-1. Another slider from TJ Mcfarland. Really needs a ground ball right here.
An early elevated pitch count is definitely not what the Diamondbacks were looking for today from TJ Mcfarland. We said he might be able to go 4 innings in this game only if he's very efficient.
Base hit into center. Buxton scores. They'll stop Escobar at third. The RBI for Polanco, and it's 2-0 Twins.
Straight sliders and then a sinking fastball in the outside part of the plate. Polanco stays right on it, much like the base hit earlier in the game, right back up the middle of the field.
Max Kepler, the left-hand batter, drops to 7th in the order for Paul Molitor today. 254 and 16 home runs. Kepler has had his problems with left-hand pitching this year. Overall, the offensive numbers, as you see there, are pretty encouraging. He's got 3 hits in this series, including a home run here Friday. But he's hitting only .135 against left-hand pitchers this year. platoon splits. All 16 of Kepler's homers have come against right-hand pitchers. Chops that foul, and Mcfarland's ahead 1-2.
Kepler's trying to hit that ground ball that he's looking for. He's hit the top part of the baseball on the last 2 swings. Unfortunately, fouled him out of play rather than put him in play.
TJ already at 25 pitches. 1-2 to Max Kepler. Just got a piece of that one. The most pitches TJ Mcfarland has thrown in a ball game this year is 58. That was when he came on to replace Robbie Ray in St. Louis after Robbie was struck on the head by that line drive. He had a 54 pitch outing August 1st in that big loss to the Cubs at Wrigley Field. But he's getting a little too close to that already here. Still just 1 out. Kepler, for a guy that struggles against lefties, is putting up a fight. It's still 1-2. Comes into the ball game with a 5-game hitting streak, Max Kepler. Escobar is at third, Garver's at second, Polanco at first.
Are you buckled into your seat there, partner?
What do you got?
Breaking news. Giancarlo Stanton hit a homer.
I'm shocked.
Number 45 on the season.
Oy, that is something. Well, that's great for baseball. A little tapper again goes foul. I mean, guys like Byron Buxton, who are just thrilling to watch fly around the bases, and Giancarlo Stanton hitting tape measure homers. I mean, that's what the game needs.
I'm sure there are a lot of pitchers that would disagree with you, but yeah, for the good of the game, yeah, seeing exciting players do something that they do extremely well. We talk about Buxton running the bases and covering ground in the outfield. It's fun to watch him run.
Sure is. Everybody caught up in what Aaron Judge has done in New York this year. It's good to see. But a bat here by Kepler, still 1-2. Well, he's not giving up. There is Byron Buxton. He's already had a highlight reel series, 5 hits.
And you think about a guy like Byron Buxton, it has to be tough to get your legs underneath you. Everybody expects so much. I mean, the 5 tools, everything is there with Buxton.
He didn't go. Angel Hernandez. It's 2-2. Yeah, Buxton's second overall pick. Everybody figured, okay, be great right away.
And, you know, it takes a while. Even for the great ones, it takes a while to get your legs underneath you, get up to speed with the game at the major league level, and do all the things you're expected to do as a middle of the lineup hitter, defensive center fielder, base stealer, home run hitter. Sometimes it takes a little while for all those things to come together, but you can see with Byron Buxton, if it all does come together, he's going to be one of the greats in the game.
Deep left center, and that is going to get to the wall. Escobar is home. Garver right behind. They stop Polanco, and Max Kepler has a 2-run double. Deepest part of the yard, 4-11 out there in deepest left center.
I hate to say it, but what a great at bat by Max Kepler. You mentioned he doesn't hit lefties well. He battled and fouled off a lot of borderline pitches. Eventually, TJ Mcfarland makes a mistake out over the plate and down with a 2-seam fastball, and Kepler's all over it for an RBI double.
4-0 Twins. TJ Mcfarland, in his first start in more than 3 years, has already thrown 31 pitches. He's only got 1 out. And the 8th man to bat in the Minnesota first is the catcher, Chris Gimenez. Here he is. Second and third, 4 runs in. Gimenez, the backup catcher. Jason Castro, left-hand batter, sits. Day game after night game, all that business. Gimenez, 187 and 5 homers. Braden Shipley will start to warm up in the Diamondback bullpen. 0-2. There is Braden, who was scratched from his start the other night for AAA Reno. Got here last night and was activated today.
Chris Gimenez is from Gilroy, California, which I'm sure you know is the garlic capital of the world.
It's hard to beat Gilroy garlic.
It's really good. I'll tell you, if you drive through Gilroy with your windows rolled up, you can still smell the garlic.
That doesn't sound very pleasant.
It's like going to AT&T Park and smelling those garlic fries.
True. That's why they have the seagulls. Almost got Gene Glenn down there coaching at third.
And another little oddity about Chris Gimenez, he's pitched 6 times already this season for the Twins.
Come on.
He's their emergency guy.
They've had 6 emergencies?
Apparently so. Total of 5 innings. He's given up 7 hits and 4 runs. 1 homer, no walks, no strikeouts.
Negative Rampart. His 9th season in the big leagues. Chris Gimenez, 34 years old. He's been around. He's been in Cleveland. Was drafted by the Indians out of Nevada Reno back in '04. And Seattle. He was in Tampa Bay for a while. Was in Texas. Was in Cleveland again. Was in Texas again. Was in Cleveland a 3rd time. And now he's here in Minnesota.
Don't burn bridges.
Funny. We were talking to some of the Twins folks here, and they were saying, you know, they might make a move here, they might make a move there, maybe they'll get a closer. There's no way they can trade Gimenez. I had a couple of different guys tell me that. They love this guy in the clubhouse. He's just one of those guys. He's meant a lot to him this year. Plus, he comes in handy in pitching emergencies.
Yeah.
And he belts that into left. Polanco will score, and it's 5-0 Twins. Well, Minnesota last night had a 5-run 4th inning, and they come back today with a 5-run first. And that will be it for TJ McFarland. Diamondbacks in a deep hole early. 5-0 at Target Field. We'll be back after this. League start in just over 3 years, and he failed to survive the first inning. And this is why Braden Shipley was scratched from his last start at Reno and flew into Minnesota last night. They're going to need some length here. It's the gas line call to the bullpen. Braden up from AAA Reno. His last start for the Aces was last Saturday, and he pitched very well at Tacoma. Went 5 2/3, gave up only 2 hits.
Tacoma, one of the better pitchers parks in the Pacific Coast League. You get some heavy marine layer there occasionally. The ball doesn't seem to carry very well. It used to be a big ballpark. I'm not even sure if they play at the same stadium that we used to play at in Tacoma.
Well, you saw his major league numbers. We've seen Braden a couple of times this year. With Reno this season, 6-6 in 18 starts with a 6.06 ERA. So he's going to have to shoulder the load here, get him out of this first inning, and then give Torey Lovullo hopefully 4 or 5 innings here and calm things down a bit, give the Diamondbacks a chance to get back in this one. Here's the former Giant. It's the shortstop, or pardon me, the third baseman for the Twins today. ARI Adrianza, 283 and 1 home run. First pitch is fouled back. Adrianza has not played much lately. He's only 3 for 14 up there in August. Plays mostly against left-hand pitching like he was supposed to do today, but by the time they got to a spot in the order, the left-hander was gone. He's batting in the 9 hole today. Adrianza's first season with Minnesota. Twins picked him up after he was waived by the Giants just before spring training started. High in the air right field. Drury drifting out there. Martinez, long run, and he makes a sliding grab. Terrific play there by J.D. Martinez as Kepler has to stay put at third. Boy, J.D. really had to come in from deep right field to get that one.
What a dead run toward the foul line over there. Goes into a slide. Not quite sure what Kepler was doing over there at third base. He was halfway down the line. Usually on a ball like that, you tag up. If it drops, you can walk home. If the outfielder makes a catch and leaves his feet the way J.D. did, you might be able to tag up and score anyway. But Kepler was halfway down the line when the catch was made and had no choice but just to go back to the bag.
So the Twins bat around in the first. Dozier walked and scored to lead off the ball game for Minnesota. His 4th base on balls in the series. Kepler, the runner at third, Jimenez at first. 2 outs and 5 runs in. Fastball's the strike, and it's 1-1. Dozier hot lately. Last 15 games, he's hit .365 with 7 home runs. He's usually looking for anything inside that he can pull, so Iannetta sets up down and away. Another fastball's a strike, and it's 1-2.
A little more velocity than Bartolo Colon, but a lot of the same movement on the Braden Shipley fastball. Doesn't have a lot of sinking action. It's more of a tailing fastball. So if you're going to try to go away from a right-handed hitter, you better make sure you start it off the plate away and let it tail back to the corner.
Fouls off a breaking ball, and it stays 1-2. Young Braden Shipley trying to get his feet planted on some firm major league ground. He's been up and down all year. 25-year-old. Fastball away, just missed. It's 2-2. Braden, the Diamondbacks' first-round pick in the draft 4 years ago out of Nevada Reno. 15th overall selection in that draft. Saw Braden last year, 13 games, made 11 starts. Went 4-5 with an ERA just over 5.25. Fastball away, and it's full on Dozier, 3-2. Eddie Rosario on deck. Missed inside. Jimenez took off on the pitch. Dozier walks for the second time in the inning. And once again, Minnesota has the bases loaded. Rosario grounded out in his first at bat in this inning. He's got 4 hits in the series. He's doubled twice. He starts today riding a 9-game hitting streak. Kepler is at third, Jimenez at second, and Dozier at first. Popped up, foul ground. Jake Lamb will give it a look, but it's out of play. Braden jumps ahead quickly, 0-2. Good hard fastball right there. This has become, between Mcfarland and Shipley, a 50-pitch first inning for the Diamondbacks, and it's still going. High in the air, deep right field, and it's gone. A grand slam, 9-0 Twins.
Up above the belt, right down the middle of the plate. Well, these Twins, it looks like batting practice against the D-backs pitching in this series. Every mistake in the strike zone has just absolutely been hammered.
It was certainly that way Friday night when they hit 6 home runs in the game. They got a lot of belt-high mistake pitches. And Rosario didn't miss his. Buxton, left center. Pollock makes a diving grab. And AJ finally ends a long first inning, but the Twins bat around. They score 9 back from Target Field after this. with a 9-0 lead. Bartolo Colon, our State Farm winning combo. Most major league pitchers all time with wins in the most stadiums. He's won in 40 different major league ballparks. Behind only Randy Johnson and Jamie Moyer. Chris Iannetta, the D-backs catcher, leads off the second.
Long bottom half of the first inning there. Not sure what effect that'll have on Bartolo Colon. I would imagine he appreciates the extra rest.
I would think so. There's the fastball at 84. 2-1 on Iannetta. Chris 0 for 3 with a walk Friday. 224, 11 home runs. I got a few questions for you.
Okay.
Since we saw Bartolo Colon, we've talked about how long he's been around, his 20th year in the major leagues. And the boys in the truck wanted to quiz you.
Okay.
Let's take a look at this 3-1 to Iannetta. And there's a walk. Is Bartolo Colon old enough to have appeared as teammates in the same game with Torey Lovullo?
I'd have to say yeah. Just a guess, but I'd say yes.
That is correct.
All right.
Do we have a little bell noise? Bartolo Colon made his major league debut April 4th, 1997, and he was a Cleveland teammate with Bartolo Colon in '98. Is he old enough to have pitched on the same team with Diamondbacks radio legend Tom Candiotti?
I'd say yes once again.
You are correct, sir. Candy and Colon were both on the 1999 Cleveland Indians. So thanks for playing How Old Is Bartolo Colon? We have some lovely parting gifts for you.
He's about a year younger than Mud.
And you'll get a version of our home game. Brandon Drury.
We were talking about Giancarlo, Stanton, Byron Buxton, and Aaron Judge, some of the guys that are good for the game, keeping the interest up. And Bartolo Colon has to be right there when he hit his homer. I think everybody that had even a casual interest in baseball was digging that.
Brandon Drury got to be digging this. He knocks it into the gap in left center field. They'll stop Iannetta at third base, and Brandon Drury has his 29th double. So Brandon has now hit safely in 5 of his last 7 games, including 4 doubles. That bat's starting to come around. Gregor Blanco, the left fielder today. Blanco, 234, 3 home runs.
Kind of had a feeling Blanco was going to be in the lineup against Colon today. 5 for 11 lifetime, a .455 batting average.
0 for 3 with a walk in Friday's series opener here. Jumps on the first pitch, hits a lazy fly ball to left for Rosario. Iannetta's at third. Here he comes. Chris digging for home, and they got him on the shoulder. Jimenez applies the tag, and Iannetta is out. Eddie Rosario in left field.
Unleashed to throw all the way to the plate in the air, was in foul territory, but Jimenez quick enough to make the catch and tag all in one motion there. Just in time to get Chris Iannetta at the plate.
Well, that hurts down 9-0. Now Drury's at second, 2 down for Adam Rosales, the shortstop. Fastballs is striking at 0-1. Rosales 238, 4 home runs. His last start was last Saturday against the Cubs at Chase Field. He had a couple of hits in that ball game, but he's had only 1 at bat in a little over a week. That's going to get out of play. Adam has been keeping sharp, taking a lot of infield practice lately. He was out there again this morning, especially at shortstop. Trying to stay sharp.
Yeah, making the double play feed to Brandon Drury at second base, and then they reversed engines. Brandon Drury took ground balls feeding Adam Rosales at second base just to get used to each other a little bit out there.
Rosales 6 for 22 in 8 games with the Diamondbacks, acquired from the Oakland A's at the trade deadline. Lays off the Cologne slider, and it's 2-2. David Peralta, the DH batting leadoff, would be next. And Cologne gets his third strikeout. Diamondbacks at second and third. Couldn't get a run home. It's 9-zip Twins. Players Weekend, August 25th through the 27th at MLBshop.com. They have limited edition D-backs jerseys and t-shirts featuring the player pick nicknames, so you can wear the gear the players will wear on the field next weekend. Available while supplies last. Check out MLBshop.com. Eduardo Escobar, who singled and scored in the first, leads off the second. Escobar, the switch hitter, can now switch back and bat left-handed. He's got 5 homers left-handed. He really does have power from both sides of the plate. Six from the right side, 5 from the left. 2-2 now. Braden Shipley came on in the first inning in relief of T.J. Mcfarland, who could not survive the first. In fact, TJ was able to record only 1 out in his appearance today. Shipley came on after 8 batters. Got the second and third outs of that first inning, but along the way gave up a grand slam to Eddie Rosario. Good hard fastball there. Strikes out Escobar, 1 down. Here's Mitch Garver, the first baseman. His first major league start. He's only had 2 plate appearances. Struck out last night, walked in his first time up today. Mitch Garver out of Albuquerque, played at the University of New Mexico. Twins' 9th round pick in the draft 4 years ago. Change up there from Braden Shipley. That has always been his best pitch. He's featured a mid-90s fastball, pretty good sinker, and an excellent changeup. 2-2 on Garver. Here's tap to third. Lamb has to charge. Bare hand throw, and he throws it away. Let's see if that's Mitch Garver's first career major league hit. Base hit for Garver, his first in the big leagues.
A barehanded attempt by Jake Lamb. You can see how deep he is down there at third base. A long way to go just to get to that ball. It appeared like he didn't have a real good handle on it and throws it way wide at first base there, giving Garver his first major league hit and advances to second on the E5.
Probably not the way Mitch Garver dreamed it, but he's in the record books. And here's Jorge Polanco, who had an RBI single in the first. Polanco has only 3 home runs this year. He has not homered at Target Field this season. Does have 4 hits in the series. Curveball away, and it's 1-1. Mentioned this yesterday. It's kind of amazing. Jorge Polanco is hitting .415 in August. He went 4 for 51 in July. How does that happen?
Cycles of the game.
Crazy. I mean, that's not an at bat here and at bat there. That's playing every day. Just goes to show you, fans can get down on a guy, any player on any team. Oh, why don't they just bench Polanco? I mean, he's 4 for 51. He's never going to hit. Well, not so much. 400 hitter this month. That's probably a good lesson watching a game like this. It's 1 of 162. Everybody wants to panic and start jumping off bridges, but going to be another game tomorrow. Still got time in this one. Can't get down on players. Can't get too panicky when things start to get bumpy. Rolled the first for Goldie. Garver in at third, 2 outs. Did you ever go through a time, I'm sure you did, where you probably thought you were never going to get another hit or your team was never going to win another game?
Oh, yeah, it happens. I mean, once again, it is the nature of the game to go through peaks and valleys over the course of the season. Ideally, you want to be a consistent team that wins from day one until the postseason, but the unfortunate reality of this game is players are going to go through peaks and valleys. Teams are going to go through peaks and valleys. You just hope that the valleys are limited and the peaks last a long time.
Here's Kepler. A 2-run double in the first against T.J. Mcfarland. There's his strike.
I mean, these recent struggles have reminded me of my very first manager in the big leagues, Frank Robinson. We were going through a similar spell. Couldn't get any hits, couldn't score any runs. And we got beat 2-0 one game. Frank called a team meeting in the clubhouse, and every hitter showed up with their tail between their legs because we knew we were going to get yelled at. Instead, Frank came in and aired out the pitchers. He says, you guys have to be better. You can't give up any runs because you know we can't hit.
Message received.
Message received.
Well, Torrey's looking for answers just like any skipper in his position. I mean, his ball club was rolling along. Everybody was happy. As he said, you know, sometimes everything's ho-hos and ding-dongs, and other times it's not. But, you know, when they got to 50 and 28, that would have been a tough pace to maintain. Skies this one short right field. Drury drifting out. Martinez coming in, and he gives way to the right fielder. We'll head to the third. Diamondbacks down 9-0. Played for the Expos.
I would say yes.
You are 3 for 3. Stay hot. Hey fans, the long-awaited super fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor is here. It all begins Friday. The weigh-ins live on FS1. And then next Saturday, the action's on Fox as we host a special pre-fight show, 3 o'clock, followed by a huge prelims card at 4. And then after the super fight, don't miss all the post-fight commentary and the interviews on FS1. Mayweather and McGregor is here. It all starts Friday. David Peralta pops this up. Foul ground, third base side, and Noonan. Well, it's just been that kind of day. ARI Adrianza leans over the railing and catches that one.
Little snow cone there at the end of this play by Adrianza. Catches it way up in the webbing of the glove and just does hang on.
Can't see the ball there when it got below the camera. I'm looking for anything at this point. 0-1 to AJ. AJ singled and stole a base his first time up. So he's hit safely now in 4 straight games and 5 of his last 6, AJ Pollock. This is lifted in the air to left field for Rosario.
I've got a very easy Bartolo Colon question for you. Just true or false? His first start in the major leagues, he rode a brontosaurus to the ballpark.
That is correct.
Yes, indeed.
What is this, the Flintstones? That is not correct. I got one for, I think we have a Paul Molitor related one. The Twin skipper, career 2 for 8. So he actually pitched to his current manager, Paul Molitor.
How about that? Dave Roberts pretty much owned him.
Molly had a couple of hits. Craig Counsell, boy, he's pitched to like 6 or 7 different current major league managers. Bartolo Colon. He says he just wants to keep pitching. He said the older he gets, the more he wants to play. 0-2 on Jake Lamb. Said, you know, he was asked about this when he got to Minnesota, Bartolo Colon, after the Braves let him go. And everything is through an interpreter, but he just said baseball is all he's ever done. Still likes to do it. It's kind of what keeps him going. Still has fun.
And we could possibly see a Bartolo Colon against Ichiro Suzuki matchup when they're both 50 years old.
It's fun. Let's just keep him going. Colon spent his previous 3 years with the Mets, where he won 15 games and was an all-star last year. This year signed as a free agent with Atlanta. Didn't work out there. He was 2-8 in 13 starts. The Braves let him go in July. And the Twins picked him up. He's gone 2-2 in 6 starts here with Minnesota. But Atlanta gave him a $12.5 million deal, and they are still paying that contract. The Twins get a prorated rate of about $220,000. 2-2 on Lamb. So this is on the Braves tab here. Jake walked his first time up today. In his 4th start with the Twins earlier this month, Colon beat Texas 8-4. It went all the way and became the oldest American League pitcher to throw a complete game since Nolan Ryan in 1992.
Backed up that complete game performance, the win over Texas, with a 7-inning shutout of the Milwaukee Brewers. Gave up only 5 hits in 7 innings.
He can still get it done. Shallow center. Buxton comes in. And Colon has retired 5 in a row. Diamondbacks down 9-0. Diamondbacks trail it here, bottom 3rd. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. We're on a plane after this ball game, headed to the Big Apple for 4 against the Mets starting Tomorrow night, this was announced yesterday by Torey Lovullo. Taijuan Walker, Patrick Corbin, Zach Godley, and Robbie Ray makes his return to the rotation. All 4 games for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Effort there to split up the 2 left-handers, Patrick Corbin and Robbie Ray. Chris Gimenez, the catcher, first pitch of the inning is belted into the left field corner. And Gimenez, who had an RBI single in the first, has a double to lead off the third. Boy, I can't remember a series in which the other team has consistently just had belt-high hanging pitches up, just begging to be hit.
Yeah, I don't think it's by design either. Just a lot of mistakes, very hittable mistakes in the middle of the plate.
ARI Adrianza, the former Giant, the third baseman today. Adrianza usually only plays against lefties. That's why he was in there today against TJ Mcfarland. Only 35 plate appearances all season against right-handers. He was the first batter Shipley faced. In the bottom of the first, he got him to fly out to right. As TJ Mcfarland was roughed up, did not survive the first inning. Shipley came on, gave up a grand slam to Eddie Rosario. Twins sent 12 men to the plate in the first and put up 9 runs. D-backs 11 over 500 at the start of play today. 1 game behind the Rockies for that first National League wild card. And holding on to that second wild card spot. 3.5 games ahead of Milwaukee. St. Louis 4 games back. Colorado hosting the Brewers today at Coors Field. Chase Anderson for Milwaukee. Kyle Freeland for the Rockies. That game right now 1-1, bottom third. And the Cardinals and Pirates play tonight in Williamsport. That's part of MLB's Little League Classic. They're out there for the children's baseball. So they're going to give them a thrill, have a big league game right there. Mike Leake goes for St. Louis. Ivan Nova for Pittsburgh. That's a good idea.
Yeah, they're not playing at the Little League field, right?
That would be more fun to watch.
A lot of homers.
Yeah. No, they got a regulation field somewhere over there. But they're going to have the kids from all the teams interact and get to mix and talk to the players, the big leaguers. Got to get the kids involved. Great initiative there from the commissioner's office. That is the Sunday night game tonight. Do you remember the first big leaguer that you ever saw in person and went, oh, wow, as a kid?
Oh, all of them. I mean, I used to stand around the players' gate at Cleveland Municipal Stadium as the Indians drove their cars home at the end of the day just to wave at them and see what kind of car they drove. Oh, man. I mean, Sam McDowell, sudden Sam McDowell.
Tap to first for Goldie. Jimenez into third.
I mentioned Mudcat Grant came to Coshocton to one of our Little League banquets one year. Tommy John came one year when he was a member of the Indians.
Dozier has walked twice, scored twice. Changeup is in for a strike, 0-1. Dozier's walked 5 times in the series. Pretty good for a leadoff man. Boy, Braden Shipley's had some zip on that fastball here today. 1-2.
You know, we mentioned Dozier likes that ball middle of the plate in, something he can lift in the air to left field. If you can scoot it up there just a little bit higher than the top of the strike zone, you can get some swings and misses like Shipley just did right there.
What do you always say? Higher than high and lower than low?
Higher than high and lower than low. If a guy's a good high ball hitter, chances are he's going to swing at a pitch that's a little bit higher than he can handle. Same thing if he's a good low ball hitter. Go a little bit lower than he can handle.
Tried a breaking ball and missed, and it's a full count, 3-2. Eddie Rosario, who hit a grand slam off Shipley in the second, or in the first inning, I should say, is up next. Part of a 9-run Minnesota first. And Dozier walks for the third time today. It's only the third inning. 6 walks in the series. So here is Rosario. He came up bases loaded in the first inning with 2 outs and hit a high fly ball to right field that carried out for a grand slam. Big cut at that Shipley fastball. Here's the Rosario slam in the first, his 17th home run of the year.
Elevated fastball, inner third of the plate. Cast it high in the air to right field in the back of the bleachers out there.
And a 5-run deficit became a 9-0 ball game. But that's the way Rosario has hit lately. Last 16 games, better than .390, 5 homers. Now another one today. High in the air, shallow right center field. Jimenez is at third. AJ's got it. He'll stop there. And that's the second out. Byron Buxton. Buxton had an RBI single and a fly ball out, both in the first inning. And if the Twins sent 12 men to the plate in that 9-run first.
No hitter alert, partner.
Oh, what do you got?
The Little League team representing North Carolina threw their second consecutive no-hitter against Northern California today. I think it's the only time it's ever happened in Little League history. Back-to-back no-nos.
I was going to say, it's not the same kid, is it? They have all kinds of rules about that. Hard to third. Jake Lamb knocks it down. Jimenez is going to score, and it's 10-0 Twins. the DH, Eduardo Escobar. He has singled and struck out. Put another error up on the board for the Diamondbacks. So that's an E5 on Jake Lamb. No base hit for Buxton. Second error of the ball game for Jake at third. We've seen Braden throw some pretty good fastballs here today, getting a lot of swings and misses with that hard fastball. 94, 95. Rolled to second, Brandon Drury. Shipley strands two. Twins add a run. Will head to the fourth. Diamondbacks trail at 10-0.
Best friends that are umpires, and I have fun with them. And nowadays they look at me in the dugout and start laughing. They just look at me and laugh. And I got you. I know you got me. So, you know, it's entertainment. I had fun doing it. I always got my goal, and I told this before too. I wanted my players to stay in the game. So if something started happening and they were getting in an argument, I got in the middle of it, and I was the one that got pitched so they could stay and play.
Todd Walsh back here at Target Field. First pitch called strike, I believe, to Paul Goldschmidt as we welcome you back. And a look, guys, at Ron Gardenhire, the former manager of the Minnesota Twins. Had an extended interview with him before the start of the series, which we aired this morning on Diamondbacks Live, the pregame show. It's up on our social media platforms about a lot of the things that he experienced here along the way. But Bob, in particular, I wanted to talk to you. This guy was ejected 72 times.
Nice.
His
Awesome.
major league career, but as you just heard him say and saw him say, trying to protect his guys.
From what? In the words of Marv Levy, you over-officious jerks.
You're killing me, Wayne.
There you go.
Sorry.
Well, the reality is, yeah, a major league team can play without a manager, but if your good players get ejected, you're probably not going to win the ball game. That's why managers get out there and try to save their players, keep them in the game, and take one for the team.
It's funny because Gardy is the friendliest, happiest, most upbeat, jovial guy you'll ever meet or talk to. But, I mean, he got himself run, what, 70-something times?
72 times.
I mean, what's going on there, Jekyll and Hyde? J.D. Martinez.
Yeah, so, get those competitive blood's flowing a little bit hot, and you never know what might happen.
Sometimes when I'm down there late in the game and the camera well right next to the dugout and something happens on the field, he'll just wander over and go, you know, right about now I'd be out there kicking dirt on their shoes.
Those days are pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I know replays improve the game and you want to get it right, but I kind of miss the toe-to-toe, jaw-to-jaw square-offs.
Yeah, but you run the risk of hurting the feelings of an umpire.
Well, that's been a problem lately. It's funny you brought that up. That's fouled to third. There was an issue yesterday, and we saw this in the game, where two of the umpires with this crew, Angel Hernandez and the crew chief Ted Barrett, were wearing white wristbands in protest of some of the players and managers saying bad things about them after incidents on the field or ejections. Well, the World Umpires Association sent a tweet out today on the Twitter that said, to demonstrate our good faith, MLB umpires will remove the protest white wristbands pending a meeting that they're looking for. And J.D. Martinez sends someone looking for that one. His 25th homer, and the Diamondbacks are on the board. So that umpire situation seemed to have calmed, at least for today.
For today.
That's JD's 9th home run in 27 games with the Diamondbacks. A jumbo jack, free jumbo jack tomorrow, a Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink.
By the way, if I could layer onto your storyline and the thread and the arc of this game.
Please.
Bartolo Colon against Ron Gardenhire from 2002 to 2014. 10 starts. He's 5-5 with a 4.24. That's about all I can do to connect the dots for you guys.
We need all the help we can get.
I know.
Chris Iannetta walked his first time up. Yeah, Gardy, they love him here. He managed the Twins for 13 seasons. Took him to 6 postseason appearances. And was the third base coach under Tom Kelly on their 91 World Series winners. So he was coaching third the day of that legendary Game 7 between John Smoltz and Jack Morris. One of the greatest pitched games in World Series history. Is that correct? Grammatically greatest pitch? Who knows? Iannetta looks at strike 3.
And I give him credit. He shook every hand, kissed every baby in town all weekend. He came out for all 3 ceremonies and made sure that he honored Andy McPhail and Michael Kadire and spent some time today. It was just wonderful to be a part of the conversation with Tom Kelly that he had today.
He caught Kadire's ceremonial pitch, didn't he, Gardy?
Tried.
Brandon Drury gets into one, and that one is out of here. 2 Diamondback homers in the 4th inning. That's Drury's 10th. And it's 10-2. That bat for Brandon Drury is coming around. Last 7 games, he's got 4 doubles and a home run.
And we talked about it the other day. Brandon had his playing time seriously curtailed before the word benching came up. Has been watching a lot of ball games lately, and I said it before. Sometimes if you want to get the best out of a player, take away what they want the most. And for Brandon Drury, he wants 5 at-bats every day. He wants to be in the starting lineup every day. And if that's what it takes to motivate him and get the best out of him, I'd say it's worked.
And Brandon had one of the D-backs 2 hits last night, a double in the 2nd inning. So far today, a double and a home run. Here's Gregor Blanco. I think Gardy's a lot like Brandon Drury in that way. They're just baseball lifers. I remember being here last time we were here at the end of the 2014 season. Gardy was the skipper. He was down there hitting fungos in the infield.
Talked about it on Friday night. It's in the interview. His lesson that he learned, that he carried with him from Davey Johnson for so many years. Always remember what it's like to be a player on the field, Steve.
Blanco beats that out. Dozier couldn't get it there quickly enough, and Blanco has a base hit. What, by the way, do you have a preview of the local 9 is coming up after the game today, right?
You're so glad I'm here, aren't you? Yes.
Pull up a chair.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually excited about it. AJ Pollock is the headliner. His life and times away from the baseball field will absolutely blow your mind. He and his wife, global travelers. I asked him, where have you been away from North America? And I think the answer was about 3 minutes long.
Wow.
Gregor Blanco is part of the show today, and his breakdown of just how he makes a milkshake takes about 3 minutes. It just how he fuels his body and the number of Gregs that are in the family. It goes on and on and on.
Wow.
But I think the sleeper is Derek Hall. Derek Hall sat down, talked about his vegan life and what it's like to go out and hang out around town as one of the faces of the franchise, no matter what the record is.
He is certainly that. Rosales sends one to the right field corner, and that bounces off the wall. They're going to wave Blanco home. And it's 10-3. RBI double for Adam Rosales. D-backs chipping away here. 3 in the 4th against Big Bart. Todd Walsh, you are on fire right now.
Just stand right here, okay?
Don't move.
Yeah. Same seat, same thoughts.
You know, Derek is unbelievable that way, because everywhere he goes, he's on the radio shows, he talks to fans every day at the ballpark, on the streets, restaurants, you name it, and they all have questions for him.
Yes.
And then some of them are difficult questions, and he's never afraid to answer it and be honest with whether it's a reporter, a radio show host, a fan on the street.
And remember, he went to ASU, so he's been around town for a long time, but it sounds like he is enjoying his life and times in a different part of the community where he has lived, and he's got a couple of go-to places which he shared. And the breakdown of the vegan establishments was about 8 miles over my head, as you can see. But
I mean, that takes a lot of work too.
Yes, it
I mean,
does.
I've gone to dinner with him, and he and Amy and everybody, they have to plan out, okay, we can go to this place because they have that, and when we go here they'll make this for us, and it takes a lot of dedication to live that lifestyle.
I should point out that he may have done his undergraduate work at ASU, but he graduated from the Ohio University School of Sports Administration.
Okay.
He used to be on TV, Derek Hall, as a sports anchor. He's got pictures in his office.
In LA?
Yeah, big time.
Yep.
Peralta strikes out. They strand Rosales at second. Todd Walsh gets his 3 runs.
There you go.
Including
home.
Nice work.
Okay.
Here's 2 homers. J.D. Martinez is 25th, and Brandon Drury, number 10. Bottom 4 in Minnesota. D-backs down 7.
putting a 3 spot on the board. They still trail the Twins by 7. Time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. We go back to the 1985 season. Doc Gooden goes the distance, his 6th complete game of the season, a 3-0 win over the Giants. Punched out 16, including yours truly 3 times.
Ouch. Well, you weren't the only one. There's Mitch Garver. Do you remember that? What was it like to face Doc Gooden?
It was fun because you knew he was going to challenge you. He was going to throw fastballs. You better be ready to turn it up a notch or two to catch up to it, but he was going to challenge you with fastballs. You tried to get him early in the count because if you got to 2 strikes, you might see that snapdragon curveball, and that was no fun.
Braden Shipley back out there to start the bottom of the 4th.
Now that win this day in 1985 for Dwight Gooden ran his season record to 19-3. He had not lost since May 25th.
Well, that's one of those famous pitching seasons. Mark Fidrich and Fernando Valenzuela, Doc Gooden. Every day was an event. Lamb's got to hurry. Nice play there by Jake. He throws out Garver, 1 down. Here's Jorge Polanco, the shortstop. We'll head to New York, speaking of Doc Gooden, to face the Mets after this ball game. 1st of 4 at Citi Field. Late time granted, I believe. No, strike 1. 1st of 4 against the Mets tomorrow night. Taijuan Walker starts that ball game for the D-backs. Diamondbacks live pregame show at 4:30 tomorrow. 5:10 first pitch. Walker, Corbin, Godley, and Ray in that series for the Diamondbacks. This is rolled to shortstop Rosales. 2 outs. That has been taken, as we mentioned, a lot of infield out there, including this morning. His first start in more than a week. Here's Max Kepler. Kepler, a 2-run double in the first, 1 for 2. Rockies and Brewers still tied 1-1. They're in the 4th inning in Colorado. Cardinals and Pirates play later tonight in Williamsport, PA at the Little League World Series. There's that Shipley fastball right under the chin. It's 2-2.
St. Louis and Pittsburgh, as you mentioned, playing at Williamsport. The Pirates play at home against the Dodgers tomorrow. The Cardinals have the day off. I was just wondering about travel. I'm sure Williamsport's not an easy place to get into and out of.
Well, they've been playing. They're coming over from Pittsburgh, so at least they were starting from a reasonably close spot. We'll head to the 5th inning. Diamondbacks trailing 10-3. to the Twins 10-3. We fly to New York after this one. Valley Toyota Dealers tells us, let's go places. It's off to beautiful Citi Field. Well, it's nice.
Citi Field.
Yes. New York, maybe not. First of 4 tomorrow night. Taijuan Walker against Robert Gsellman. Patrick Corbin and Steven Matz. Zach Godley versus Chris Flexen. And Robbie Ray versus Rafael Montero. What happened to the Mets rotation?
Good question.
So you're not exactly getting Syndergaard in the whole bunch there. A.J. Pollock leads off the 5th. D-backs got 3 in the 4th trying to get back in this thing. Home runs by J.D. Martinez and Brandon Drury. RBI double by Adam Rosales. So they got some runs on the board against Bartolo Colon. Now at the age of 44. Lifted in the air, right center field. Dozier drifting out. Kepler will take it. One away. You know, we make a lot of jokes about Bartolo Colon because he's a fun guy and he's fun to watch pitch, but he was and has been really good for a long time. He was signed by the Indians out of the Dominican Republic in 1993.
Oh, wow.
How about that? But he very quickly became an all-star. He became an 18-game winner in Cleveland. Won an American League Cy Young Award with the Angels back in '05, and then really spent 5 straight years battling shoulder and elbow problems. He was hurt for a long time. Lamb bangs that one deep to right field. And that's in the seats. Jake Lamb, that's his 27th. And the 3rd D-backs home run today. It's 10-4.
Line drive variety home run that time off the bat of Jake Lamb. Not quite a Lamb slam, but we'll take it.
You bet.
Yeah, rare breaking ball that time from Bartolo Colon. He didn't even want to look. He was just waiting for another ball from the home plate umpire John Tumpain.
Goldie 0 for 2. Yanks that one just foul. Jumbo Jack, courtesy of Jake Lamb. Free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink. Well, they always say solo homers don't beat you. Diamondbacks have homered 3 times, but they're still down 6. And Goldie, oh, Dozier, stop it. That was headed for right center. Brian Dozier, a terrific play. 2 outs.
Well, he picked the right infielder to try to hit it over his head. Brian Dozier listed at 5'11". Might be a little bit of a stretch, but he's got some hops. Goes up to take a hit away from Goldie that time.
Need as many base runners as he can get here. So base is empty. 2 outs, a run is in. Here's J.D. Martinez, who in a long home run is last time up in the 4th inning, is 25th. And hard to 3rd. Adrianza, the former Giant down there. And that's the end of the inning. Diamondbacks add another run on the Jake Lamb homer, is 27th. It's 10-4 Twins. Fans, don't miss the first ever Grandparents' Day coming up at Chase Field. You can create memories with a family. Enjoy the Diamondbacks and the Padres game on Sunday, September 10th. You'll get a game ticket and take home a keepsake photo with a special event ticket pack. So check out dbacks.com/grandparents, and we'll see you with the whole family at Chase Field Sunday, September 10th. You gonna bring the whole brood over there?
Yeah, might as well. What the heck?
Well, you only got like 12 of them. Field a whole team of Brenly grandchildren at this point. Chris Jimenez, who has single, doubled, scored twice, leads off the 5th. Braden Shipley looking for another shutdown inning. Braden was pretty solid there in the bottom of the 4th after the Diamondbacks got 3 in the home half. And now they've added 1 in the 5th. I see Michael Brenly's Red Sox are leading the Yankees right now 3-1 at Fenway Park. They're in the 7th inning.
That's just good bullpen catching is what that is.
Guys come in, they're extra effective.
He's done wonders with Craig Kimbrell this year.
Yeah, Kimbrell's career was really on the brink. Well, I'm sure you get some excellent scouting reports.
Well, not the one I really need. I texted him before we came here to Minneapolis. Said, hey, where do you get pizza from in Minneapolis?
Jimenez sends one deep left field. Blanco at the track, and it's gone. Chris Jimenez now a triple shy of the cycle. That's his 6th home run, and it's an 11-4 ball game.
Day for a backup catcher. 3 at bats. He has 3 hits. He scored 3 runs. Just did tuck that one up into the front row in left field.
He has singled, doubled, and homered. Scored 3 times, knocked into. ARI Andrianza, slow roller to second. Drury's got to get over there. And he throws him out.
Yeah, just put a ribbon on that story. I asked him, where do you get pizza from in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Well, he gave me the name of 2 chains that you can get in any city in the world.
Yeah, you like the specialty
I
local
like local stuff. Yeah, you know, some mom and pop place off the beaten path somewhere.
Well, when a Brenly screws up a pizza report,
there's
that's
something wrong.
Really
Something wrong.
The compass is broken there. Well, here's the leadoff man, Brian Dozier, who has walked all 3 times he's been up there today.
How did I fail you?
Exactly. Is he still in the will?
That's debatable. Well, unfortunately, he was right on his scouting report of Jose Barrios, last night's starter for the Twins, who he said this guy, if he's got his breaking ball working and he's throwing it for strikes, he can really be good, and that was definitely the case for Barrios last night. Barrios, excuse me.
You know, I would have thought that you would have gone to your former teammate for a hookup on where to go for the food. There is Dan Gladden doing Twins radio here, your former Giants teammate. Dan, with Corey Provis.
Danny only eats at establishments that comp everything.
He still holds on to that
oh,
money.
Man. He used to complain back in his playing days that I didn't get any sleep last night. I didn't get any sleep last night. And Mike Krukow used to tell him that's because you've got every penny you've ever made under your mattress.
Well, he was down there taking part in the Twins Hall of Fame ceremonies today. You guys were teammates. Were you teammates in the minor leagues too?
No. Well, no. Just at the major league level.
With the Giants.
Yeah. But I actually first met Danny when he was still going to school at Fresno State University, and I was playing in the minor leagues at the time for the Fresno Giants and spent my off season in Fresno, and we worked out at Fresno State together many, many times.
Well, Dozier's determined to get one into the right field corner. That one is foul as well.
You know, and to show you how the game has changed, Danny was telling me a story, and a lot of fans have probably heard this story. He had a teammate by the name of Steve Lombardozzi.
Mm-hmm.
And Lombardozzi, the Twins are playing a game, and Tom Kelly pulled Lombardozzi back to pinch hit for him with a left-handed batter. A chance to blow the game open in the middle innings. So he pinch hit for Lombardozzi, and Lombardozzi grabbed his hat and his glove and was going to head in the clubhouse. And Danny Gladden got in front of him and said, "Hey, sit down and root your teammate on. He's been sitting over here all season rooting for you. The least you can do is stay here and root for him."
Dozier sends one out of here. Upper deck, Brian Dozier, his 25th and his second in this series. The second Twins home run in the inning, and it's 12-4.
I always said if you're going to go in there, you better go higher than high, and that time Shipley didn't get it up high enough.
And stop me if you've heard this before, but Dozier just pulled the ball.
Yeah, how about that? Knows it right away. Ball really jumps out of here down both the left and right field line. That one up well into the second deck.
Boy, Dozier now has 8 home runs in his last 16 games. Here's Eddie Rosario, who hit the grand slam off Shipley, and that got Chris Iannetta back there. I think he got him on the backswing with the baseball bat.
And John Tumpain, the plate umpire, is going to give him a little time to regroup back there.
Yeah, Chris went down pretty quick.
Watch the backswing. Oh, man, got him on the left wrist that time. Just to finish this Dan Gladden story. So he gets up off the bench, gets in front of Steve Lombardozzi to intercept him from going up to the clubhouse and said, "Hey, you know, this guy's been sitting on the bench all year rooting for you. The least you can do is stay out here and root for him." The next day was an off day. Dan Gladden got a call from Steve Lombardozzi, said, "Are you home?" Danny said, "Yeah, I'm home. I'll be right over." Well, Danny tells the story, and he's got 2 daughters. At the time, they were very young, and they were playing a little dress up. He had ribbons in his hair and
perfect
clip-on earrings, and was playing with his daughters. And there's a knock on the door, and there's Steve Lombardozzi, and he said, "Hey, I don't appreciate the way you showed me up in front of everybody in the dugout yesterday." And Danny said, "Well, then do something about it." Well, the 2 of them on an off day end up rolling around in the front yard of Dan Gladden's house in a fist fight.
Well, he was dressed up as
had ribbons in his hair, yeah, and earrings. But that's the kind of teammate Danny Gladden was. You know, we're all in this together, and if I'm going to go out here and give my blood, sweat, and tears for this ball club, I expect you to do the same. And if you don't, he would call you on it and get in your grill.
Now, do you think players today still do that?
Oh, I don't think so. Not so
I don't
much.
mean necessarily fight in their own yards, but yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like everybody's, I don't want to upset anybody's feelings. And, you know, Danny Gladden said it's not about your feelings or my feelings. It's about how we play together as a team.
And that's why he has 2 World Series rings right now.
That's why everybody that's ever played with him said he's one of the best teammates they've ever had.
He was a fun guy to watch, playing on those 87 Twins and the 91 ball club.
He was signed out of a tryout camp, never drafted. Went to a San Francisco Giants tryout camp with a bunch of 17 and 18-year-old kids. And they said, "Well, we'll take a flyer on you." Well, it worked out pretty well for the Giants and the Twins.
In fact, Andy Mcfarland, who was inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame today, the architect of those 2 World Series championship teams, mentioned Dan Gladden. There he is, Danny Daycare in Twins radio. And he was the leadoff man here, left fielder, one of those glue guys. Kind of guys that just win games and win championships. 2-2 on Byron Buxton.
That was a fun time when I was living in Fresno, California. Danny was just fresh out of college. Mike Lacoste, who pitched in the big leagues for a long time, later became a teammate of mine, was there. Terry Pendleton. And there was a whole group of us there. Rich Bordy, who used to pitch in the big leagues for the Oakland A's. And we put together a basketball team to play in leagues.
Rosario, or Rosales smothers that one, and they get the force on Rosario at second. Adam Rosales kept that one from rolling into center.
At the time, I had a van that was empty in the back. It just had a piece of plywood and a piece of shag carpet on top of it, but other than that, it was just a metal box. And I would drive to these basketball tournaments on the weekend, and we just set up folding chairs in the back of the van for the rest of the guys on the team to sit on, and then we would go pay our entry fee and whip a bunch of locals and take home the trophy every weekend. It was a lot of fun.
A bunch of ringers in a van showing up. D-backs coaches played their annual road trip basketball game here yesterday. They were able to use the Minnesota Timberwolves practice facility. Buxton is just back in time. The T-Wolves practice right over there. The arenas are right next door. So Torrey and all the coaches, everybody got they got their own lockers. They really took care of them. They set them up nicely. So they went down there for their pickup basketball yesterday.
They had Buxton leaning the wrong way down there at first base. He stumbles a little bit right there, but just does get the hand back on before Goldie can get the tag on.
And Eduardo Escobar 1 for 3.
Yeah, that's one particular play where it helps to have a left-handed fielding first baseman. You can let that throw travel a little bit farther, put the tag right down on the base, but as a right-handed first baseman, you have to catch the ball, drag your tag back to the back of the base, and by the time Goldie did that, Buxton was safely back on the base.
0-1 on Escobar. Remember, Buxton has stolen 21 bases this year. He's only been caught once. Shipley now at 90 pitches on in relief of TJ Mcfarland.
Just one other footnote on Danny Gladden. His daughter Ashley, his oldest daughter Ashley, is married to the son of Gary Gaetti, former teammate of his with the Twins.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
It was a good team.
Apparently. Buxton takes off. The throw from Iannetta. It's close in there, but Buxton has his 22nd stolen base of the year. Byron Buxton has put on a show here this weekend.
He's going top speed after about 2 strides.
Full count on Escobar, 3-2. Buxton at second, 2 outs. Mitch Garver, the first baseman, would be next. His first start in the big leagues today. There's a little dunk shot, bounces in front of Rosales, and Escobar beats it out.
Now that's a case where a major league hitter took a full swing, hit the ball off the hands, and barely cleared the pitcher's mound. Adam Rosales thought that ball was going to carry all the way to him. Has to field it on a short hop and can't get it across the diamond quickly enough for the out.
So 2 runs already in on the home runs. Runners in the corners, 2 down for Mitch Garver, who has walked, singled, and scored a run. Carver just up from AAA Rochester for this series, making his first start in the big leagues. Buxton is the runner at third, Escobar at first. Change up there from Shipley, and it's 0-2. Missed with a fastball. And Braden about to throw his 100th pitch on in relief of TJ Mcfarland. 99 pitches, 59 strikes. And he struck him out. Strands 2, but the Twins add 2 more on the homers by Jimenez and Dozier. Diamondbacks trail it 12-4. Taipei at the plate, Pennsylvania in the field. Watch the youngster in center. Whoa!
Oh my!
He made the catch. Now they eventually decided that this counted as a home run. But how about that grab? Up and over.
I'm not familiar with Little League rules. Why would that be considered a home run?
I'm just told by our producer, Brad the Big Dog Weimer, that it was a homer. I'm with you. I'm sure there's something in the bylaws. Chris Iannetta pops up to Dozier at second. 1 out.
I mean, that catch Austin Jackson made earlier this year on a ball Hanley Ramirez hit near the bullpen at Fenway. He went up and over, made the catch, and tumbled out of the field to play. That was still an out.
You're right. He went into the bullpen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He never came back on the field to play.
Well, Little League has all kinds of its own rules.
Different rules.
Yeah. Brandon Drury. Good day for Brand that he has doubled and homered. The start at second base. Diamondbacks, if they're going to figure this thing out offensively, this is, Bob, for me, one of the key guys that's got to start getting hot. And the bat is coming around as of late for Brandon. They need him. Well, they decided from the very first day of spring training, if you remember, that Brandon Drury was going to be in there every day. He was going to be the second baseman, and that was it. Because they need the bat in there. And they still need it right now here late August. Tap to shortstop, Polanco.
Well, when he was initially taken out of the starting lineup, Torey Lovullo insisted it was for defensive reasons. There were some things he was doing defensively that the Diamondbacks weren't really enamored with. They wanted him to work on those things, take a little time out of the starting lineup to get a little extra work in every day on his defense. But the reality is, you watch the defense without Brandon Drury, it hasn't been any great shakes. You know, I don't know that you're losing that much with Brandon Drury at second base defensively.
And given the potential that is in that bat, you want to give him the chance to turn it around, and he started doing that over the last week or so. Blanco singled and scored his last time up, 1 for 2. Discussion there with John Tumpane. Big changeup from Bartolo Colon, 0-2. Well, Colon's kind of doing what he does. Right about 90 pitches through 5 2/3. Keeping you in the ball game. Now he's given up 4 runs, but it's 12-4. 3 Diamondback homers today. All solo shots. Martinez and Drury in the 4th, and Jake Lamb in the 5th. Diamondbacks had first and second, 1 out against Colon in that 29 pitch first, but he got Goldie to fly out, struck out Martinez. And there's the called strike 3, a fastball to Gregor Blanco, who doesn't like that one. Bottom 6, it's 12-4 Minnesota. Minnesota leads the Diamondbacks, bottom 6 here at Target Field. It's our unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Diamondbacks holding on to that second and a wild card spot, 1 game behind the Rockies. Only 3.5 up on Milwaukee. St. Louis 4 back, and right now the Brewers are leading Colorado 2-1. They're in the 5th inning. Cardinals and Pirates later tonight in Williamsport, PA. Jorge Polanco, the shortstop, starts us off, home half of the 6th against Braden Shipley. Shipley now over 100 pitches on in relief of TJ McFarland. Goldie's got that one down. You looked at that wild card lead, and you know it used to be 10 games, and then it was 6, and then it was 5. Now it's 3.5 and 4. And this one hasn't gone very well today. The Diamondbacks already have lost 3 of 4 on this road trip. They've lost 10 of their last 14 games overall. And no panic certainly, but maybe a renewed sense of urgency might be called for. Max Kepler. Jammed him, pops it up. Shipley fighting the sun. Here comes Goldie. And that'll bring up the catcher, Chris Jimenez, who is a triple shy of the cycle. Jimenez had an RBI single in the first. He doubled in the third, homered in the fifth. He scored 3 times and knocked in 2 runs. Not a bad Sunday for the backup catcher. What they call a Sunday player. That's something that Torey Lovello refers to all the time, because he says, I was a Sunday player. When that Sunday day game came along after the Saturday night game, I knew that was my day. I was going to get to play. Jimenez gets plunked right in the wallet. Well, last time he faced Shipley, he took him deep. And this one hit him. Ouch.
Rib ball.
Ari Adrianza now.
Chris Jimenez got on first base and told Goldie, hey, look in there to your bench. They're trying to get your attention. Goldie swings around behind the runner at first base.
I'll play behind you if you promise not to run. Adrianza for 3. Well, the Twins are in a funny spot. You know, they had a really good closer in Brandon Kinsler earlier this year that they traded. So Paul Molitor really didn't have a closer right now. They still have Perkins on the roster, but he has had a tough year. And they had a tough stretch. They figured they were out of it, so they traded the closer. They got Jaime Garcia. They kind of flipped him, but now here they are fighting for a wild card spot. Things are going well for the Twins right now. That ends the inning. We'll hit the 7th. Diamondbacks trailing 12-4. Colon at the age of 44. With him, I guess they're still the Cox high-speed highlights.
Yeah, well, not high-velocity highlights, but he does what he does. You said it a moment ago. Just pounds that strike zone with a little tailing fastball. He has mixed in a few more breaking balls and changeups than you normally see from Bartolo Colon, but hey, if you can throw strikes in the major leagues, you can get guys out.
Ryan Presley, the right-hander, comes on. Bartolo Colon's day is done after 6 innings. He walked 2, had 5 strikeouts. Presley's 42nd appearance of the year, a 5.61 ERA. Jimmy Sherfy, who was called up last night, activated today. He started warming up with the Diamondback bullpen as Adam Rosales leads off the 7th. Jimmy Sherfy, maybe a chance to make his major league debut here today. Uh-oh. Well, they just hit Jimenez, and this game has long since gotten out of hand.
Warnings have been issued now.
And now Ryan Presley's first pitch almost got Rosales. And there is John Tumpain. Here comes Torey Lovullo. Well, you'll remember Jimenez hit a long home run off Braden Shipley in the bottom of the 5th. Then came up again in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Shipley drilled him right in the ribs. And now the first pitch in the top of the 7th almost caught Rosales. Uh-oh.
Boom.
Torey Lovullo is ejected. He's trying to find a way to wake up his ball club. And he's using every club in the bag.
I would imagine part of Torey's initial argument was if you feel like Presley threw intentionally at Adam Rosales, and you must have because you issued a warning, then he could be ejected. You don't have to give a warning to eject a starting pitcher if you feel he's throwing at somebody intentionally.
Well, so Ron Gardenhire in his return to Target Field gets to manage. How about that?
Go for number 73, Gardy.
That's right. Let's double up. So Gardy is in control down there. Torey Lovullo has been ejected from this one. In the 7th inning, Diamondbacks down 12-4. 2-0 on Rosales. Rosales had an RBI double off the wall in right field his last time up.
You know, Torey Lovullo is now 70 behind Ron Gardenhire in managerial ejections. That was his 2nd this season.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance.
Hard to shortstop. Polanco sets and throws. Nicely done there by Jorge Polanco. 1 down in the 7th. Must be weird for Gardy to be managing from the third base dugout here at Target Field. David Peralta 0 for 3, the leadoff man and the DH here today. Offensively, it's hardly been a terrible ball game for the Diamondbacks. They have 4 runs on 7 hits. They've hit 3 home runs. Doubles by Drury and Rosales. Drawn a couple of walks. But they're still down 12-4. Bounced up the middle one more time for Polanco.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
D-backs fans here with us on this road trip. We saw a bunch in Houston, saw a whole lot here this weekend in Minnesota. A lot of D-backs jerseys walking around Nicollet Mall, Hennepin Avenue here in downtown Minneapolis. AJ singled and stole a base in the first. He's 1 for 3. Well, we may get our first look at a big league game at Jimmy Sherfy when we come back out here. Sherfy warming up. There he is, just called up from AAA Reno. Former closer at the University of Oregon, has put up some big save numbers in the Diamondbacks minor league system. And he is an interesting dude. Dude, in fact, might be the perfect word for Jimmy Sherfy. He's got that colorful closer's mentality that brings some personality to the ball game. So he's getting ready, it looks like, for his big league debut, as Shipley has thrown more than 100 pitches in relief of TJ McFarland. Fastball in, it's 2-1. Brewers have taken a lead in Colorado. It's 2-1 Milwaukee. They lead the Rockies at Coors Field. Cardinals and Pirates later tonight. 2 outs, 2-2 on Pollock. That smashed to shortstop. Polanco. Hello, he threw it wildly to first, and AJ's aboard.
Pretty good range by Polanco to go up the middle and get to that ball. Briefly lost his footing right there. May have caused him to throw wildly to first base.
E6. Here's Jake Lamb, who was walked and homered. The home run is 27th of the year. A solo shot back in the 5th. First pitch curveball's in there, 0-1. Chris Herrmann in the on-deck circle, getting ready to hit for Paul Goldschmidt. So it looks like Goldie's going to come out of the game here, down 12-4 in the 7th. There's a fastball, and it's 0-2. Chris Herrmann, the former Minnesota Twin, played parts of 4 seasons here to start his big league career. Chris Herrmann would have played for Ron Gardenhire in this ballpark for the Twins, and Gardy was still the skipper.
Yeah, we mentioned it before game 1 of this series. Ron Gardenhire and Chris Herrmann probably signed more autographs than any 2 people in uniform this weekend. Chris Herrmann, even though he was a backup catcher here in Minnesota, a very popular player.
That's a fair ball at first base. And Presley gets over there to cover. We stretch at Target Field. We'll get a look at Jimmy Sherfy's major league debut when we come back. With you, Bob Brentley and Todd Walsh with you. Hey, D-backs fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device. Use Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. You can download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and the D-backs with you wherever you go. The Major League debut for 25-year-old right-hander Jimmy Sherfy, the former Oregon Duck. A 10th round pick by the D-backs in the 2013 draft. It's the Ashline call to the bullpen. His numbers this year, where he's been closing games for the AAA Reno Aces. 2-1 with a 3.33 ERA and 17 saves.
58 strikeouts in 46 innings of work. That's 11.3 strikeouts per 9 innings in his 41 games with the Aces this season.
Very aggressive fastball and a good slider. He was kind of a wild thing in college, meaning he would throw it all over the place, and he adopted that nickname. They used to play that Wild Thing song when he came into games in Eugene, and he sort of adopted that persona. He's out there a little bit, but he's got at times electric stuff, and he has a very good record of closing games in the minors. So here he is in his big league debut, and he'll face Brian Dozier to start the Minnesota 7. Dozier today has walked 3 times and homered. Chris Herrmann takes over for Paul Goldschmidt at first base. First pitch fastball is in there at 94. Now keep in mind, warnings have been issued to both benches, so if Sherfy hits somebody accidentally, he's out of there. And I believe Ron Gardenhire would be ejected as well as the manager.
Goes also after warnings are issued.
Sherfy has struggled in his recent outings at Reno. He's given up an earned run in 7 of his last 12 outings with the Aces. Does have 5 saves over that stretch. Trying to change up. 2-1. Sherfy totaled 30 saves last season as he moved up the charts. He was at Visalia, then he was at Mobile, and then he was at Reno. Went from A-ball to AAA. All in 1 year. 30 saves along the way. He averaged last year about 12 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. So he could put up some big strikeout numbers. Not a big guy out there. 6 foot 175, but he throws pretty hard, always has. 2-2 on Brian Dozier. Tried another changeup, and it's full 3-2. Eddie Rosario on deck. Bouncer to Rosales at shortstop. He collects that one. High throw, and Herrmann gets his foot down in the bag. Well, Rosario had the game's biggest hit. It was 5-0 Twins in the first inning. They knocked T.J. Mcfarland out of the ball game after 8 batters. Braden Shipley came on. Rosario in his second at bat in that first inning came up and hit a grand slam and made it 9-0. A 9-run Minnesota first. It's now 12-4. Sherfy used to put on quite a show when he was closing games in college at Oregon. He was a sophomore there, had no control. He said he was Ricky Vaughn from the movie Major League. So the Oregon Ducks PA speakers would blast that Wild Thing song when he came into the ball game. It was, you know, kind of a bit, but he embraced it. It became part of his identity. Fans loved it. And so he sort of adopted that personality out there as a pitcher. And now here he is in the big leagues. It's going to drift into the seats and out of play. That's the funny thing about Jimmy Sherfy. You know, some college guys You're getting a little wild. He might have got down on himself. He embraced that whole thing, and he kind of owned it. Because he admitted as a sophomore when he was pitching in college, he didn't just walk the bases loaded. He said he would walk the entire town. But he almost always got out of it. He had a remarkable knack for loading the bases and then putting up a zero. Change up there. A lot of change up so far from Sherfy. 2-2. But he really improved his control when he became a junior. Was a first-team All-American, in fact, second in the nation in saves. And the D-backs took him with a 10th round draft pick. Full count, 3-2. Dropped it in there, a changeup, and Jimmy Sherfy has his first major league strikeout.
Eddie Rosario caught looking at an off-speed delivery right out there near the outside corner. Right on the outside corner. Good pitch.
Now he gets a look at Byron Buxton. First pitch fastballs in there for a strike. Another good changeup from Sherfy. He's ahead 0-2. Jimmy Sherfy found out he was coming up to the big leagues when the phone rang in the bullpen last night in the second inning. And they said, Sherfy, get your stuff and get in there. He said, I knew I'd either been traded or I was going up. And so when he got to the dugout, they said, you're going up. And here he is. Jimmy Sherfy with a fastball strikes out Byron Buxton. 2 strikeouts in his first big league inning. TJ Mcfarland and Braden Shipley. Eddie Rosario a grand slam, took it from 5-0 to 9-zip. Diamondbacks have chipped away ever since. They've got 3 home runs today. JD Martinez and Brandon Drury have homered, both in the 4th inning. Jake Lamb a solo shot in the 5th.
Good to see the home runs, the 3 bombs in the game today. Unfortunately, all 3 solo shots for the D-backs.
Here's the former Twin, Chris Herrmann. Took over for Goldie at first base. And Herrmann is back in town. A 6th round draft pick by Minnesota. Out of the U in Miami back in '09. He played parts of 4 seasons here. You all right?
Yeah. Tough to come back in a ball game when you work the count in your favor, and
you can't say anything. They might protest.
Yeah, they might put on a wristband or something.
John Tumpane was one of the umpires on this crew not wearing the white wristband of protest yesterday.
It wasn't exactly a show of solidarity. There were as many umpires that did not wear the wristbands as did.
Half of them on the Angel Hernandez crew, which was sort of the focal point of the whole movement. That's bounced over the mound for Polanco. There's JD Martinez now. JD's home run in the 4th, his 25th of the year, and his 9th as a Diamondback. Second inning of relief for the right-hander Ryan Presley. After Bartolo Colon went 6 innings here today. Breaking ball is in there, and it's 0-2. Milwaukee leads the Rockies 3-1 now, so there's some good news at Coors Field. Brewers have a 3-1 lead. Although the way Milwaukee's going, I don't know which team to root for. Swing and a miss.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Diamondbacks 1 game behind Colorado for the first National League wild card, but only 3.5 games ahead of Milwaukee for the 2nd spot. So if these 2 scores, the one here and the one in Colorado, don't change, the Diamondbacks postseason position will be down to a 2.5 game lead. Chris Iannetta, as walk, struck out, popped up 0 for 2. Good to see the Dodgers lost.
What?
Yeah, Justin Verlander.
Get out.
And the Tigers beat them 6-1 at Comerica Park today. Uh-oh. I see some bad things have happened in Boston. A relief pitcher who may or may not have been warmed up by Michael Brenly has apparently blown a lead because the Red Sox were up 3-1. It's now 3-3, 10th inning in Boston. Yankees and Red Sox. Kepler in right field. Bottom 8 on the way from Target Field. Diamondbacks trail the Twins 12-4. episode of the Local 9 as Todd Walsh sits down with A.J. Pollock, Gregor Blanco, and our president and CEO, Derek Hall, CEO, to find out their favorite things to do, place to go outside the ballpark. The 10th inning, Local 9, brought to you by CenturyLink right after the ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona. A.J. Pollock, Gregor Blanco, Derek Hall, the big stars this week. Daniel Descalso is on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning. Eduardo Escobar, the DH, leads it off. By the way, we should correct ourselves. Look, the score is still wrong up on that board. Phil Malika, stop what you're doing and get a shot of the scoreboard in right center, like you're doing anything at all. Because we reported earlier that the Yankees come back to tie the Red Sox 3-3, and there it is. But the actual score is a final 5-1 Boston. Yankees had only 3 hits today against Rick Porcello. He beat Sonny Gray. So our producer, Brad the Big Dog Weimer, called that to our attention and wanted to make sure we gave you the right score. They still have it wrong up here. Descalso almost got Escobar that time. Warnings have been issued to both benches. Popped him up. Descalso trying to keep that career ERA at 0. And Rosales has got that 1 out. Second time this year we've seen Daniel Descalso pitch, and he's been very effective. This is his 3rd appearance. It's Daniel Descalso answering the Ashline call to the bullpen. 2 career appearances, 1 1/3 scoreless innings, hitless baseball so far. Mitch Garver. Swing and a miss. Who knows what that was? It's 82 miles an hour.
It's one of the many pitches that he throws.
Descalso's got good stuff today. 1-1. Long throw for Rosales at shortstop. Herrmann kept his foot on the bag, the Hermanator. And they get Mitch Garver at first. This was Daniel Descalso earlier this year when things got out of hand at Wrigley Field.
He's definitely a fly ball pitcher.
Can he work a perfect 8th inning? Here's Jorge Polanco.
A little breaking ball there that time. He's got them all.
Breaking that one off. Snapdragon breaking ball. You said it, fly ball pitcher. Who wants it? Here comes JD Martinez. Another perfect inning for Daniel Descalso. Gets us to the 9th in Minnesota. Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool play of the game with his 10th home run. D-backs have homered 3 times today, all solo shots. Drury, Martinez, and Lamb. On to work the 9th inning for the Twins. It's the veteran lefty Glenn Perkins. Just came off the DL a couple of days ago. And he's been on the disabled list since April of last year, coming off surgery for a torn labrum in his left shoulder. And this was his appearance. It was a bumpy ride Thursday here to part of that doubleheader against Cleveland.
Yeah, 2 runs on 2 hits and a walk. He also hit 2 batters in his 3rd of an inning.
Better not hit anybody here. Has to go, right? Warnings have been issued to both benches. So here's Drury, who has doubled and homered, 2 for 3. Brandon has now hit safely in 5 of his last 7 games. During that span, he's got 4 doubles and a home run. Oh, and 2. Chopped foul in front of the D-backs dugout. By the way, thanks to your outstanding journalistic work, they have corrected the Yankees Red Sox score on the board here.
Good. Boston came back from a 3-3 tie in extra innings to win 5-1.
Wait, what? Missed upstairs, 2-2. Brewers still lead the Rockies 3-1, 7th inning at Coors Field. There it is. Rick Porcello beats Sonny Gray. I don't know how our director Phil the Iron Horse Malika is going to show his face in New York next week after that. Big Yankee apologist. Full cut on Drury, 3-2.
I always get an earful every time we go back to New York. Hey, Bradley, where's BK? And I always say he's home polishing his World Series ring.
Never fails. There is no comeback for that. Drury belts one down the left field line. Brandon Drury's going to get aboard for the 3rd time today with his 3rd extra base hit. 2 doubles and a home run. Brandon Drury now with 30 doubles this year.
Boy, ideally the start is something big for Brandon Drury. You mentioned it earlier. They need his bat in the middle of that lineup, hiding down in that 7 hole here today. But knowing Torrey the way we do, he's going to try to bunch the guys that are swinging the bat well, to link those at bats together, try to build some innings, score some runs.
Gregor Blanco. Gregor singled and scored in the 4th, came home on Adam Rosales' RBI double. Here's the strike. 2-2. Well, Torey Lovullo was telling us before the game today, every team over the course of even a championship season goes through a stretch of games like the stretch the Diamondbacks are going through right now. Yes, he went. Blanco strikes out for the second time today. Yeah, Torey was saying everybody cares. It hurts. They're just not playing the best baseball right now, and yeah, it gets frustrating. And those frustrations boiled over a bit today when Torey was ejected for the second time as the D-back skipper. Here's Rosales. Fastball inside. It's 1-1. Twins 12 runs, 12 hits. D-backs 4 runs on 8 hits. Rosales sends one high in the air. Pretty deep left center field. Buxton is over there with Rosario. And Brandon Drury tags and goes to third, but that's a terrific example of all the ground in this massive outfield that Byron Buxton covers for the Twins.
He covers so much ground, it allows the corner outfielders to kind of hold their position, knowing that Buxton can cover everything from gap to gap. He went a long way to catch up to that high fly ball.
I mean, he started from St. Paul there and came all the way over the river. Peralta 0 for 4, last man standing. Drury at third, 2 outs. For the Twins, this will be their 11th win in their last 14 games, and they have climbed up 4 games over 500 now at the end of this one. Trying to keep pace with Cleveland, which is ahead of the Twins by 6 games for the American League Central Division. Indians are at Kansas City. They lost today 7-4. Royals beat them, so the Twins will pick up a game in the division. They're tied with the Angels for the second AL wildcard spot. They'll pick up a game with the Yankees. Peralta's got an RBI single. Drury's home, and it's 12-5. That's 5 runs.
Yeah, sad tacos. We like the happy tacos.
Those are better.
Yes, indeed.
AJ singled and stole a base in the first. Tell you what, the Twins will only be 2.5 games behind the Yankees for that second AL wildcard spot, or the first AL wildcard spot, I should say. And this is belted out to Rosario in left field, and that's the ball game. The Twins win it 12-5, and the Diamondbacks are swept here in Minnesota.